What's going on, my fellow A-plussers? It is I, your more phenomenal host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new video for you guys today, going live over on our YouTube channel along with our Facebook page today, guys. So thank you very much for certainly joining us. It's great to be back in front of the camera. To be honest with you, the last time I actually sat down in front of this laptop and actually recorded something was actually for our episode, was it 18 review that we wind up doing the previous week. That was pre-recorded for you guys. That was actually the last time I had the opportunity to sit down. I've missed a ton of stuff. I've actually fallen behind on, while I have watched Zenkaiger, today we're actually going to be doing the Zenkaiger episode 36 review for you guys. I know somebody had asked me a couple of weeks ago, Adam, why don't you do Zenkaiger, in A Plus More Phenomenal? Well, now's the time. I decided to go ahead and at least do it here for this weekend because during the middle of the week, it's becoming extremely busy around here. So I haven't even tackled my Supergirl 2-hour season finale review that happened like 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, or almost 2 weeks ago. So this is literally the first time that I've been in front of the camera. So it's so great to be able to be back with each and every one of you guys a Saturday afternoon. And you know what that means? Another brand new episode of A Plus More Phenomenal, along with a new episode of Dino over on Nickelodeon, already up and ready to go on Netflix for you guys if you haven't watched the entirety of season 1. But for review purposes, this has actually worked out relatively well for me to continue to follow along the path that Nickelodeon has already set up after all these years. So we're going to be getting into episode number 19, the makeover, here this week. We also got some big news in regards to Netflix and the Power Rangers. Michael Lombardo, who works over at Entertainment One and Hasbro, spoke out this past week in regards to what Entertainment One's going to be developing. So we are definitely going to be breaking that down for you guys. We got some Donbrothers rumors, some silhouettes to go ahead and show you guys also. And then, of course, our Zenkaiger review and your live viewer question. So a packed show today. And if anything, I'll try and skim through some of this stuff as quickly as I can without taking away too much content from you guys here today. But, the girlfriend has already changed and fed baby Noah already around 11:30 or so. So she just put him down to go ahead and take a nap and sleep. I would assume by the time I get done with this, he'll be ready to eat once again, as we're trying to feed him. I think it's like we're on a 3-hour schedule at this point in time. So yeah, some sleepless nights, getting the opportunity to certainly experience that for the very first time. But thank you guys for your continued support and your patience. I try and keep you guys updated over on our community tab. So if you are a subscriber to the channel, hopefully we've been doing a good job of at least keeping you posted as to why we've been kind of late and kind of lackluster in some of the content that we've been usually providing for you guys. But life has certainly changed, but I'm definitely doing my best to keep you guys entertained and provide some great content for you guys. So thank you very much for your continued support, your patience, and your understanding, guys, because fatherhood, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced for myself. Real quick before I give some shout outs, I got to say, me being 38 years old right now, I'm actually about to be 39, and towards the end of December, I know I'm pushing 40, guys, believe it or not. This handsome face, you know what they say, black don't crack, right? So we age like fine wine, my friend. But it is one of those things. I think sometimes when you think of yourself getting older in life, you wonder how many other experiences or what kind of new things are out there for you to kind of explore. And for me, I think one of the eye-opening things has been the realization that even pushing 40, that I'm about to embark on just a completely unknown journey in my life, a whole nother phase that I just never imagined for myself. Like I just think back to when I was like a little kid, or just people that I know that are really young, that might have, had their first heartbreak and their first relationship didn't go well. And they think my world's gonna end. This is it for me. Right. Like it's just funny just to kind of see the mindset when we're younger, when we think that there's like nothing else left out there for us. You know what I mean? And then as you get older, just seeing that, yeah, there's a lot. And it's not just even fatherhood, right? But just in general, for people, there's plenty of more in this life to certainly experience. So never feel like your life is over or that you've hit a dead end, because trust me when I say there's a new adventure awaiting your life, even when you are about to be pushing 40 years old. You know what I mean? So just incredible stuff to be experiencing this with you guys. And yeah, thank you very much again for all your support, guys. We really wouldn't be here without you. So thank you very much. Let's do some shout outs, man. Let's see who's actually in here today who's joining us, because I mean, last week we didn't have a live episode. It was pre-recorded. This is our first time live in a while, so it's going to be a great show, guys. So grab your coffee, sit back, relax, put me on your big screen if you got one at home. Who knows? But yeah, let's have a good time. Shout out to Blossom for certainly coming through first. Also in the comment section, guys. Enrique, what's up, Enrique? Thank you very much for stopping by, man. We got Koala in the house as always. Frankie Lopane coming in. Thank you very much. We got Jordan here as well. Matthew, what's going on, man? He says, happy Turkey Day. He says, glad your Turkey Day was fun. Super excited to talk about this week's episode. Yeah, we're going to get into all of it. And I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving also. I had Thursday and Friday off of work. Go ahead and celebrate with the family and stuff. So I hope you guys had a good Turkey Day as well. Johnny Marrero's in the house. Thank you very much. Appreciate the congratulations. JB, what's up, JB? Thank you very much. He says, hey, everyone, and Adam, love the episode minus the pop-pop date. I know I'm the minority. We'll definitely talk about it for sure. Power Rangers ready in the house. What's going on, AJ? Power Rangers Legacy here. It's morphin' time. Thank you very much for coming through, man, as always. Adam Perea, my twin. What's up, man? Harka, good to see you as always. Sarav, thank you, man. As always, so good to see you. We got Doomsday in the house today. Ram Jam certainly joining us. Mike Knight Hero, congratulations on being a father. Thank you very much. Let me pat myself on the back, even though it's not a one-man job. So, you know, the missus definitely had a lot to do with it. Every once in a while, I'll look at her and I'm like, babe, I can't believe like we created this little human being, you know, like the human body is just an incredible thing and how it works. KL certainly in the house. Edward Sanchez Productions. I was wondering where you were going to pop up, man. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Video DVD is in the house today. We got Yusai in here also. Who else we got joining us today? I know there's some new faces. Jason, what's up, Jason? Thank you very much. Anthony, what's up, man? I didn't expect to see you up in here, so thank you very much for swinging by. Congrats on the new baby. I really do appreciate it. Charles, he says Adam is a dad. Awesome. I'm still getting used to even hearing that, to be honest with you. People call me Pops already, and I'm like, this is weird. This is really weird. But yeah, guys, thank you very much. And of course, listen, as we wind up getting stragglers or anybody else certainly joining us last minute, definitely go ahead and certainly make them feel welcome and part of the family here, guys. So thank you very much. We actually gained a couple of subscribers, I think like 2 or 3 subscribers over the past week with me like dropping no content. So clearly some of the content in the past grabbed somebody's attention enough to go ahead and subscribe to us. So thank you very much. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers, guys. So close. So please, if you're in the live chat here today, if you continue to love our content, do me a big favor, hit that like button. It really does go a long way. And if you ever want to share these videos, feel free to and tell everybody about where you come for your Power Ranger updates and things like that. So guys, because of the fact that we do have ourselves a pretty packed show today, I think we should just dive into it, shouldn't we? Let's do it. Let's do it. Today, guys, Dino Fury wind up dropping episode number 19. The Makeover. For some reason, when I got into this episode and I saw the title, The Makeover, my head went straight to the matchmaker for some reason, because I was thinking, well, isn't Amelia helping Pop get ready for the date, when I remembered the episode description? But I wind up getting the episode mixed up with the Javi and Izzy matchmaker. And this episode, The Makeover, with Amelia and Pop. But I got to tell you, man, I really enjoyed this episode. I truly did. This episode had me grinning ear to ear the entire time. Majority because of the fact that, I mean, old people are just the cutest thing, aren't they? I mean, Pop and Beatrice Cotton. I didn't think I needed these two in my life, but I absolutely loved it. Like, well, don't get me wrong. Old people can be scary, okay? They can be pretty frightening, especially if you're a young kid. The idea of grandparents putting their old wrinkly face in your, hey, you're so good to see. Like, that stuff is pretty frightening. For example, check out the M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Visit. Will show you exactly why old people can be terrifying in and of itself. But this episode just made them absolutely adorable. I love the chemistry between the two actors. They just really came across as an amazing couple, and just how cute they were on screen, the little puns and the little terrible dad jokes that they had. I mean, I was eating it up. For me, at least personally, I was absolutely eating it up. So, and for somebody, again, who while I enjoy Pop Pop, don't get me wrong, I love it anytime that he's in there. I don't want to say that he's overused, but I feel like his first impression that I had of him, was a little bit lukewarm with more positive aspects of things. But Pop Pop just continues to grow on me, man. He's like the grandfather that I wish I also had in my life, sort of thing, And I think a couple of people can kind of feel that way as well. But again, this episode I just thought for me was really enjoyable, not only in just the cuteness that the two, older actors wind up providing in here, but again, I think comedy wise, humor wise, banter wise, I think the idea of the body swap really worked out kind of well in this episode. Definitely starting to see that, we complain sometimes about the comedy duo when it comes to Power Rangers, but they continue to do an incredible job, especially when it comes to Slither and Mucus, who had some great moments in this episode also with the body swapping and having some fun with their dialogue. But even the characters themselves, right, giving them great lines of dialogue, humor, and things like that, not making them the comedy aspect of things, but establishing these characters and being able to give them some light touches of humor here and there really do go a long way. Even getting the opportunity to see Ion and the pigeon situation happen in this episode made me laugh hysterically. It was one of those things where I was really curious as to how many takes it took Jordan Fight to maybe do that one particular scene where he's got to impersonate a pigeon the entire time. I can just see people on set really holding back, trying not to laugh while he's trying to do his best pigeon impersonation. Mosa, what did he say? Mosa Power Pigeon or something like that, right? When he gets swapped out with his body. It, great stuff, man. I had fun. I had fun. This isn't like my best episode of the season, but I think going into it, well, I will say this: going into the episode, based off of the episode description, I was kind of hoping that we would get maybe more clarity on Amelia's parents, especially with Amelia and Pop Pop being in the same episode. Was hoping that maybe we would get a quick line or something like that. We didn't necessarily get it. So, despite the fact that I didn't feel like this was a huge monumental episode throughout this for the entirety of the season. I thought they handled it really well, and one that was certainly enjoyable, and at least does have me asking some questions in regards to where the rest of season one is definitely going to go. So let's talk a little bit here about Pop Pop and his date and just the episode in general, because we see Dr. Akana doing a little bit of discovery. Buzz Blast is having a live feed that's following Dr. Akana as she's discovering Purple Beard's chest. And again, I'm assuming, if anything, there's a whole, story that goes along with Purple Beard that we get to see Jay Borg interviewing the curator of the Pine Ridge Museum by the name of Beatrice Cotton, getting some more information on Purple Beard and what could possibly be in this newly discovered chest. So again, anytime Dr. Akana is on the show or gets a scene, it's a win for me, honestly. But I loved her involvement in here and really just the connection that she has with the museum. For me, this was a fun episode because of the fact that growing up as a kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist. I fell in love with dinosaurs. Jurassic Park was amazing watching it as a kid. And it was one of those things that was certainly a realm that I thought to myself, as a young kid, I would love to get in. I never thought, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a firefighter. My mind was all about trying to be like an archaeologist someday because I just love dinosaurs. So to kind of see that play up in here for Dino Fury definitely won me over. But a great interview over at Buzz Blast. And let's talk a little bit about Beatrice Cotton along with Pop Pop here. First and foremost, though, I love seeing Amelia behind the scenes feeding Jay Borg some of the questions. Just seeing it first, I didn't know she had that technical skill, but clearly she certainly learned behind the scenes how to go ahead and manage camera work and interview questions and things like that. So it was pretty cool to see Amelia even a little bit more hands-on than we've certainly have seen her in the past. But even just her pure excitement, when it comes to the supernatural, ask if there's an ancient pirate curse, and then you've got Jane who has to pull the microphone away from her, like, let's just wrap this up already. You know what I mean? I absolutely loved it. Definitely made me laugh because it just goes back to who Amelia certainly is as a character. But I thought the chemistry was off the charts between these two, Beatrice and Ed. If you ask me, get an opportunity to see Pop Pop save the day in the most romantic way, right? Grabs her, turns her around, leans her over like he's about to plant a big wet one on her, sort of thing. And you just look at Beatrice's eyes, and she's just swooning right now to just have this older gentleman just sort of save her life, sort of thing. But I loved it. I mean, the immediate chemistry, the immediate jokes that she winds up putting out, right? The my neck is sore little pun. I absolutely loved it. I mean, you can see immediately why these two definitely connect as well as they do. And look, I got to give Beatrice props for taking the initiative and even asking him out on a date, right? It definitely breaks that stereotype of, the guy should always be the first person to ask or make the first move. Then again, I also think maybe being a little bit older, the idea of dates don't necessarily come around very often, right? So if you see that spark, you gotta take it. You gotta take it. Just the idea, and he's like a date, yes, like she was with the quickness too, right? She's like, in 3 hours, all right, Ed, I'll see you later, bye. And she's just off screen quick, right? She confirms that date and she's out. Like, she's got exactly what she wanted. But it definitely made me laugh. And it's hard to deny the chemistry between these two. I mean, you see it from the start. Even Amelia's grinning from ear to ear. The puns go a long way. Look, a woman loves a guy with a great sense of humor. And if the woman has a great sense of humor back, you're golden, my guy. And then even the idea of seeing her when they're having their picnic towards the end, her pointing out like all the different oil stains on her on Pop Pop's overalls and stuff, I thought was pretty cute. A little bit of an insight into Beatrice to kind of see exactly what her past growing up in childhood and things like that was like. And I will say this, there's a part of me that kind of wants to see Beatrice back again. Feels like Dr. Akana and Beatrice probably work pretty closely together. Whatever Dr. Akana discovers, she probably brings to the museum. Seeing Pop Pop sort of involved, like towards the end of this episode, and Amelia certainly joining them as they see Purple Beard's sort of jigsaw puzzle, which I love a good puzzle too, Pop Pop. You're not alone, my guy. But I love getting the opportunity to see just 4 characters, three supporting characters and a main character working together. For me, it's moments like that in this Power Ranger world and in this series that really work for me. Getting to see that they are capable of having scenes and aren't necessarily driven so much by the main cast themselves. They've established some really great supporting characters to have little brief moments like that. So I thought things like that really went a long way. Quick honorable mention, the girl that trips over the lighting equipment where the light does fall down almost on Beatrice. I love that once she asks Beatrice, oh my God, are you okay? She immediately goes back to texting and walking, not watching where she's going whatsoever. Definitely made me laugh. I was like, look, she clearly didn't learn her lesson from what she was doing. Damn phones are so addicting, man. But really the lesson of the day, I feel like in here was certainly the idea of just be yourself, right? Amelia being so pumped for her Pop Pop to finally have a date that she really wants Beatrice to to the point to where now she finds herself having to give her grandfather a makeover, putting him in a great tux, mind you. I personally really dug the suit, maybe not the bow tie so much, but that suit jacket and the vest looking clean. But I love the fact that she's trying too hard when clearly you can see from just that first meeting between these two that Beatrice likes Pop Pop just the way that he certainly is, right? It's not like Pop Pop showed up and saved her in a suit. You know what I mean? And he still managed to sort of get her attention and win himself a date. So Amelia definitely overthought things in this episode. And I found it interesting that of all people, Zato is the one that actually kind of gives the great advice of just to sort of be yourself, right? He even points out the idea like that's a weird concept to change who you are or to pretend to be something that you're certainly not. And I think a lot of people probably fall into that trap these days, thinking they gotta act like somebody they see on Instagram or like wear their hair a certain way or dress a certain way to kind of impress somebody, when at the end of the day it should really just be who you are as a person. not necessarily what you look like or what you're wearing or flaunting. That's going to get you the brownie points. You know what I mean? So clearly, if Beatrice saw something in him, she likes him the way that he certainly is. And I love the fact that Zato points out there's no point in changing or pretending to be something that you're not. So great advice. Amelia certainly appreciated it in here. And I thought it certainly did go a long way. It definitely went a long way if you think about it, because even Pop Pop wind up getting a kiss at the end of the episode. And I gotta say, when Beatrice does lean over and kiss Pop Pop, a part of me kind of chuckled a little bit. I was like, "Uh-oh, here, call the PC police, everybody. Some may not want to see something so innocent on a kid show, like two old people kissing each other, sort of thing." Definitely did make me laugh, but that's like the second kiss that we've seen in Power Rangers this season. So Izzy and Fern and Pop Pop and Beatrice. Like who would have thought, right? Who would have thought this season? The other aspect of this episode, though, that really worked for me was the body swapping stuff. The idea seeing that they can't morph being body swapped, which did make me scratch my head a little bit, because look, this isn't the first time that we've ever done a body swapping episode in all of Power Ranger franchise. And they mentioned the idea that because of the fact that they were body swapped, that the connection to the morphing grid might have been broken because of it. And I was kind of wondering if I couldn't remember if they've had that issue in the past um in other Ranger series before. I was just thinking, like, I don't know if that fits with continuity in general. Like, I'm pretty sure we've had some body swap stuff. I just can't remember if they've never been able to morph. But I love the idea here that they are smart enough to realize, like, hey, let's just swap out our Dino keys and we'll get that connection back. And it really sort of worked out for them in here. But again, it definitely led to some great humorous moments, which I think Dino Fury has done a fantastic job in. I put it in my notes, hilarious Zato moment as Amelia is trying to get his antennas to pop up when they're in the command center. She's like, he's like, what are you doing? I absolutely love it. It's like, how do you get these antennas to come out? The fact that she wants to play around with his body while she's in it, it's a perfect body swap sort of mentality to definitely have. I even put down the Ion as a pigeon stuff, certainly made me laugh. Even Zato finding it weird that he's patting his own back as he's Amelia. And I even really enjoyed, or even getting kissed by Pop Pop on the cheek sort of thing in this episode was pretty funny. Just seeing Amelia's reactions. And it was one of those things where anytime they do a body swap, I have a lot of fun with these type of episodes, because I love seeing the actors have to perform each other's sort of mannerisms, right? Their facial expressions, how they hold themselves to represent them actually being another character sort of personality, right? So when you see Hunter Dino in here as Amelia, she's got that maybe that more sterner look on her face, right? Even the suit actors, I thought for the most part did a pretty good job when they actually did morph into their ranger suits. If you look at the Pink Ranger, she's standing all stoic, like she's the leader of the team. I even love getting an opportunity to see Amelia when they demorphed inside of the Zord, her being at the forefront of the Megazord formation. I thought that was pretty cool too. I kind of wish that they had kept her there, honestly, instead of switching places back. But the body swap always usually leads to great performances, and a lot of humor, and for that, this episode certainly did win me over. Couple of honorable mentions I do want to go ahead and mention. Void Knight talks about future plans for Bone Switch. It's a great power to certainly have, right? Being able to capture that Sporix, I think definitely will come in handy for Void Knight. And since I am technically really close to the finale of this, I have a feeling his future plans are going to be like immediate plans. Is his plans now to kind of switch out his love with someone else? I am kind of curious, like, is he going to switch it out with another Sporix beast? Is he going to find like, is it Amelia he finds or kidnaps? Is it Izzy? Like, I'm curious to see, like, who he, if again, that's just me speculating and trying to figure out and put all the connective pieces as to why Void Knight would want Bone Switch's powers. And it immediately made me think, well, maybe he can take the consciousness of his love and put it into somebody else and then take them and put them into her body, into the stasis pod. I think that would be really cool to kind of see, one, who he selects and grabs. If it's going to be human, if it's going to be an alien or a monster, who certainly knows? I have no idea. But that's just where my mind is certainly going as of this point. So I am interested to see what Void Knight has up his sleeve. And can I just say, I continue to love his throne. The seat that he's in. I don't even know like all the parts that go into it. Eat your heart out, Game of Thrones throne. Okay, I absolutely love Void Knight's throne in this series. I truly do. We also do get to see new Ranger keys also presented in here. I am a little bit bummed that they didn't use them or show them off in this episode, but I'm assuming, if anything, that's sort of an adventure for another day. This episode just kind of, I will say this, if there was any issue that I had with it, I felt like maybe the last act of this was a little bit rushed in regards to not so much finding Purple Beard's jigsaw puzzle sort of thing, but then trying to find the Dino keys and then abrupting the episode and ending it once they're discovered, right? Like, shout out to the Vision Boost key in here, which was really cool to see Zato utilize as he circles around Dino Henge. A part of me was kind of laughing, thinking to myself, like, well, isn't the command center underneath Dino Henge, right? Like, if he uses the vision or if they try to dig for it, aren't they eventually just going to hit the command center? But like the idea of them never having checked or scanned just above the roof of your command center, you've got two Dino keys there the entire time, and you guys are now just sort of locating them, sort of thing, right? They've just been really under your nose this entire time. It did make me laugh a little bit and just think to myself, like, oh well, that's a little bit odd that of all places that's where they would certainly be. But we got new Ranger keys. Not exactly sure which ones they're certainly going to be, but I'm assuming, if anything, maybe we'll be introduced to them in the next episode. So we'll see how that goes. And another honorable mention in here: Mucus and Slither continue to do it for me as in the comedy realm. The bone switch between these two were hilarious. When they were in their Area 69, or is it Area 62? The idea of Mucus saying, I always wanted to play with a staff thingy. Get an opportunity to see those two body swap, I thought was pretty humorous also. And then just great action and original fight sequences in here. I really did. The morphing sequences I thought were handled really well. I'm a sucker for the camera angles that really go into the morphing sequence, whenever they're getting ready and they're charging up their Dino keys and things like that. Just some of the pull outs, the close-ups that they do just really makes for a much more dynamic morphing sequence. And then just the opportunity of seeing Izzy and Ion handle things with the bone switch. Even the idea of seeing like Izzy fighting on the forklift, I thought was pretty badass, as she hooks onto the top and she's just slashing down Henchman as the forklift is just turning around in circles. Even seeing Ion take on the monster by himself, all in, I believe that certainly was Sentai footage, but even just the special effects, the swagger that the Gold Ranger has when he's certainly taking him down and fighting him. The fights in here truly did go a long way for me. Just a lot of great originality when it comes to footage for the action in this episode. But yeah, man, great action, great original footage, really sweet chemistry between Pop Pop and Beatrice, great puns. The humor was certainly there for me. Really enjoyable episode, man. I really enjoyed myself here for episode number 19, The Makeover. But remember, guys, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. What did you guys think about episode 19 this week? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular video airs. I'm just skimming through my notes real quick to see if there's anything that I honestly might have missed. But if there is anything that I missed that you guys want to further talk about, feel free to please go ahead and definitely bring them up. What type of soup did they drink again? I can't remember what type of soup it was, but I remember when they mentioned it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's probably an old person soup, but I absolutely love it. Then again, I am pushing 40, so that's probably that's probably why. Let's see here. What are you guys saying about this week's episode? We'll go into the discussion realm here with you guys now. JB, real quick, JB says, I'm about to be 33 and ready for fatherhood, but scared. Trust me, man. Trust me, I think everybody's gonna be scared tackling fatherhood or just having kids in general. I was terrified, terrified, excited, like all the feelings that you can imagine just pushed into one. I mean, you're just a bundle of nerves. Even even just bringing him home, especially I think with him being a preemie, you know. A little scarier because I'm just not that I feel like, oh my God, I got to be so delicate with this kid, but you're just a lot more mindful of things. Because especially with his, immune system not really fully built right. I'm like hand sanitizing myself, washing my hands and stuff, just trying to be as cautious as possible. But it's definitely a scary experience, man. You're literally creating life and are now in charge of it for like the next 18 years, right? But even after the next 18 years, they're always going to be a part of your life sort of thing. So it's a very yeah, it's a incredible experience. But I understand, JB. Trust me. I trust me. Um Jordan says, actually like this episode, even though it was one of the oddest. I will definitely agree with you there, right? Like an episode about Pop Pop and Beatrice going on the date and trying to, you know, um, find love at their ages. Yeah, just like this is an episode of Power Rangers, but they really made it work. They really made it work. Jordan says, episode of the season for me. I love it. Love it. Let's see. Power Rangers Ready says, I watched this episode so many times. I laugh every time, especially when Zato and Amelia. Simon did not lie when he said episode descriptions aren't everything. Oh, absolutely not, right? And that's what I love about it. The idea of making the episode descriptions as bland as possible because you don't really want to give too much away. But I gotta agree with you, AJ. I laughed a lot during this episode. I really did. I smiled the entire time. I laughed. It was just a super charming and cute episode, I honestly thought. Anthony says elderly people are either endearing or scary. There's no in between. I totally get you, Anthony. I totally get you. That's why I mentioned The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan. Like they can really show you how terrifying old people can certainly be. But yeah, they definitely pulled it off and showcasing like, oh, aren't they just cute, right? Like I felt what Amelia was feeling every time that she saw Pop Pop happy in this episode. I absolutely loved it. Blossom was a big fan of the jokes in here. He's like, "Yeah, I talked to the guard and I asked him if I could take a picture, and he says." No, you can't take him off the wall. Like what? Like, come on, guys. My Necosaur though had me rolling. I've never heard that one before in my life. Just talk about just the genius to come up with something like that. I look up at dinosaurs every day and I discovered a new species, my Necosaur. Oh my God, Pop Pop marry this woman already. I absolutely loved it. Matthew says, I just love Pop Pop and Beatrice here. The date was so adorable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, especially I really love the fact that she even pointed out some of the grease stains and stuff. But I gotta say, can we change up Pop Pop's clothes here? Like, is that the only pair of overalls this man has? Like, he couldn't go into his work and just find other casual clothing to certainly wear. We see him wearing the same costumes every day. Don't get me wrong, I know that he's a supporting character, but if Dr. Akana can change outfits, if our Rangers can change outfits, a Pop Pop can change outfits. I don't think we're gonna all of a sudden think Pop Pop's a new character if we give him a clean pair of overalls or a more casual suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's make something happen here, guys. Matthew says also loves Zato's reaction towards Pop Pop treating him like Amelia. Yeah, I love the idea when he was like, "Are you okay, dear? Like, something's wrong with your voice." He's like, "Yeah, I just got a cold." And then you can kind of hear Russell trying to like change his voice a little bit to be a little bit more lighthearted, I guess, when he's trying to talk to Pop Pop whenever they're face to face. I thought it was pretty funny. So Rob says this was certainly a new take on Power Ranger body swap. I would say that it was an enjoyable one. Yeah, I definitely did appreciate it. Blossom says Ion as a pigeon was for the birds. See, y'all just think y'all funny now. That was a good one, Blossom. I love it. Let me see. Doomsday says, I love me a good body swap episode. And in my opinion, I also enjoy that Power Ranger switch voices because for me, it's a good reminder that they switched bodies. Ella. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there too. Definitely agree with you there. Power Ranger says, who caught the nod to Tokuger? I might have been missing that one. You might want to clarify that for me. Maybe I missed it though. Blossom says during the interview of the pirate treasure, I love how Amelia was enthusiastic about the pirate curse. Yeah, me too. Again, it just definitely goes with right up her alley in regards to her personality and some of the things that she enjoys. Anything supernatural, ghosts, curses, right? It's right up her alley. So I thought it was perfect. It's one of those things where I was like, man, maybe she should have been the one giving the interview. But yeah, that interview might have gone like completely left field by the time Amelia certainly got done. JB says, now I did love Slither and Mucus. They are my faves of Dino Fury. Hey, I can't complain there either, JB. I totally get you, man. Next time I talk to Campbell, I would be interested in asking him just what his connection was like with the voice actor that played Mucus. I remember seeing a photo of all of them together over at the a table read. I don't know if it was their final table read, their first table read or not of one of the scripts, but him and the voice actor for Mucus are sitting right next to each other in the photo. And I got to think that they spent a lot of time together, especially in the ADR booth, maybe just working alongside. But they've got great chemistry together. Like the voices just work extremely well. They make me laugh together, and props to them because even for me, watching the Real Soldier, the Super Sentai counterpart to Dino Fury, you know, those two characters, Weisel, and oh my god, I'm so used to calling her Mucus now. But seeing those two over in Real Soldier, they had great chemistry also and a really great connection. So the fact that they were able to bring that levity over from that series to Dino Fury, it's been gold. It's been gold. Jordan says Dr. Arcana is starting to get involved a lot more, which is definitely a positive. Absolutely gorgeous, my guy, gorgeous. But I gotta say, I do love her continuing to be involved. I mean, we saw her in the Gold Ranger episode. Now here as part of helping out the curator at the museum. Again, I think anytime you get to see Dr. Arcana doing her thing, it's always a plus. Always a plus to have her as a supporting character. What's up, Mikey? Good to see you in here, man. Appreciate you coming through. Matthew says Amelia was just so adorable this week. Yeah, she was just gushing over Pop Pop, finding somebody that he connects with. I loved absolutely seeing how excited she was for him. Let's see here. Video DVD. He says it was a good episode. I like that it focused on Pop Pop. I thought we would have an alternate morphine sequence, but no. And man, what an ending. I can't wait to see what will happen next episode. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if the Dino keys are something that's highlighted in the next episode, how they're certainly utilized, especially the way how abruptly the episode kind of ended. I got to think that that's maybe the first thing that we really dive into for the next episode. I know they don't do a lot of part twos or to be continued, but this season has done a really good job of pushing the story forward and connecting tissues to one episode right to the next. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there, video. Blossom says Pop Pop and Beatrice make one heck of an item. I agree with you. It's one of those things we've seen returning characters, returning supporting characters this season. Beatrice is one that I definitely hope returns also. Like anytime we see Pop Pop next time, I would love to see Beatrice and him sort of holding hands and coming into the scene or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Adam says, Adam, are you ready for the final two episodes of season one, not including the Christmas episode? I am. I am. And again, I've yet to find a really bad episode. Like again, I maybe have one or two episodes this season that I've been like, for me, it would probably be, and don't hate me, guys, probably the Izzy race episode with her and the Olympian from the Special Olympics. I didn't really care too much for the episode itself, but as far as connective tissues to the bigger picture of Izzy's arc, it works extremely well with her meeting Fern. But I didn't really care for the episode that much. I also didn't really care too much for the camping episode, even though there were the aspects of it that I certainly enjoyed. It's just one of those things that didn't really do too much for me. So yeah, there's probably maybe two, maybe three episodes this season that are like meh, but okay still. You know what I mean? They nothing that like really just crap the bed and makes me want to turn off Dino Fury. They've been this season has just been really solid, especially for episodes that maybe don't necessarily push the story forward. They've been really enjoyable, really solid. And the ones that do hit have been excellent. So I've been really pleased with Dino Fury season one. I truly have. Simon Bennett and the writing crew continue to do wonders with this series this season. And so for me, I'm really excited to see how they wrap up the last two episodes, especially with Void Knight letting us in on the idea that Bone Swap, he has plans for using his Spork Beast or his powers at some point in time. So we'll see. Doomsday, be yourself. Yeah, Sarab, you too with the puns. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I'm a sucker for dad jokes. I really am. They might be corny, but if they can get me to laugh, roll my eyes, you've accomplished something. What's up, Jared? Appreciate you certainly coming through. He says, "Sup, Adam. I guess if you checked out Screen Rant, Akiba Ranger is joining the MCU comics. We'll get to that, Jared, for sure. It is a question that we'll definitely get to for sure. Jordan, he says, I love the body switch, but the thing that stuck out to me rewatching is when they morph at the end, it made it seem that the characters were wearing different colors because when Zato morphed, he turned into a thick pink ranger." You know what? If you picked up on that, Jordan, I think that's awesome. I definitely missed out on that for sure. For me, if anything, what I did realize was, especially when you look at Zato and Amelia in their suits, once they morph, just before Ion gets turned to a pigeon, again, the Pink Ranger, she's standing very stoic, like she's the leader of the team. And there's even a point where Zato in the background, you can see him like his body's closer together. He even has his hand over his mouth, very Amelia like, at the surprise of Ion turning into a pigeon sort of thing, right? So I love the fact that they do continue their mannerisms a little bit when it comes to their body swap. So I'm glad that they were at least consistent with it for sure. AJ says it's funny watching Adam think about what will happen in the final two episodes. Yeah, I know you guys probably all know what's happening. I'm literally the last person on the face of the earth that has not watched all of Dino Fury season one right now. That's a Power Ranger fan. But I think for me, that's kind of the enjoyable aspect is that you guys know how things are going to turn out, and I'm over here still wondering like what the f is going to happen here. So I think you guys are probably chuckling a little bit at me, maybe nodding my head if I'm getting things right, shaking my head if I'm getting things wrong. I think the idea of seeing me being completely bewildered as to where this season ends, I gotta think that's a level of enjoyment for you guys at some point in time with some of my hits and misses, if you will. Blossom, the romance between these two is gonna give me diabetes. See, the jokes continue from Blossom. The jokes continue. Izzy, what's up, Izzy? Appreciate you certainly coming through and checking in on us. But thank you very much, man. Yes, me and Cindy are just over the moon right now in regards to welcoming our baby boy into this world. Let's see here. Let's see here. What else we got? Edward, he says, I can't wait to find out more about the new Dino keys in the next episode. Me either. I'm curious, are they gonna open up? Are they like new boost keys? Is this gonna be like new Zords, if you will? I gotta think one or both of them has gotta be like a new Zord combination or something like that, or just a new Zord in general. There's a few, right? We still got the Pacquiao Zord to go. We also got the I don't even remember their names from Real Soldier at this point, but I believe there's like a pterodactyl one. We definitely had the baby kangaroo that I think we're still waiting on. There's a couple. I mean, this Zord has so many formations. It's hard to wrap my heads around them, honestly. Power Rangers Ready says, "Did you watch with Baby A plus?" No, I did not. He was in his little bassinet while he was sleeping. I was definitely watching though while he was sleeping. Watched it 2 times through. Edward Sanchez says, "Old people need love as well." Absolutely, absolutely. Brian, what's up, Brian? Appreciate you coming through today, man. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Power Rangers Ready clarifies that he was saying, did you guys see the nod to Tokuger? And he said the nod of Tokuger for me was when Zato and Amelia swapped Dino keys. I get what you're saying there to a certain extent, yeah. Because when it comes to Tokuger, they can swap out the trains, but the key to that though is they take on the color scheme of whoever's train that they take, right? So, like for me, it would have been cool to see Zato actually in pink and maybe Amelia in like red with a skirt or something like that, right? Like that would have definitely have gone a really long way if you ask me. I really wish that they had kind of pulled it off. But so yeah, I definitely see what you're saying now. Power Rangers Ready. Jezzer coming through. What's up, Jezzer? Appreciate you coming through, man. He says Pop Pop still got game. Absolutely, man. This guy's no slouch. Got that swag about him. He knows the ladies like a man with some humor, right? If you could make a lady laugh, you have a chance. So guys, get your riddle books, get your joke books. Start getting some sense of humor yourself. But yeah, Pop Pop still got game, saving ladies and hitting them with the humor. Come on, man. Who wouldn't want to date Pop Pop? You know what I mean? Jordan says Pop Pop's outfit belongs in Megaforce. They wear the same exact clothes every day. Yeah, like come on, Pop. I know Pop Pop's got to have an extra pair of clothes somewhere else. Somewhere. Usai says the thing is Dr. Arcana is too fine to just be in one fit. That woman just needs a spin-off and needs to be in more episodes. Can't wait for you to finish the rest of the season. Listen, I would agree with you, Yusai. Can we get a Dr. Arcana spin-off or something like that? Like a mini web series, like 5-episode web series, Dr. Arcana and Ollie going on like archaeology's adventures and things like that. Like it could just be handheld, selfie style recording themselves, GoPro as they're like in caves or things like that, coming across sort of things. Anytime we can get more Dr. Arcana, I'm right there with you, Yusai. Mike Knight, he says the episode had a lot of heart, which is good. Totally agree with you, man. Absolutely agree with you there. Marcelino, what's up, Marcelino? Appreciate you coming through. He says, I still don't like it when they swap voices. Still a good episode. Well, I'm glad that you definitely enjoyed the episode for sure, man. Yes. Yusai says missed opportunity for them to use the female Red Ranger suit. You may see that suit in Sentai soon, Adam, or a male in pink Ranger suit. Like even if they color corrected to change them, that's the route that I definitely was thinking that they were probably going to go when they swapped out Dino keys or tried the morph originally sort of thing. And that's exactly what Power Rangers Ready was talking about, kind of a nod to Tokuger in that sense of them swapping out keys, but without the actual color switch and variation. So yeah, I agree with you. Missed opportunity there. This season has been a big seasons of firsts. So the idea of having done something like that, I think really would have gone a long way with the fans. But look, while it is a missed opportunity, I'm not going to get on them too much because they have given us so many firsts this seasons. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like I was waiting for Zato to morph and be in complete pink and have Amelia morph and her being a red and a skirt. I thought that would have been pretty cool. All right. Who else we got? Datilla's in the house. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming through. Who else we got in here? Sam certainly joining us. Thank you very much. Crayon, thank you, KL. For some reason, I'm so used to calling her Mucus now that yeah, Crayon, as I pronounced it in a Real Soldier. Yeah, her and Crayon and Weisel were just great together as a combination. So the fact that they were able to keep that same spirit here in Dino Fury has really gone a long way for me. Like, and I really enjoyed Crayon's story arc in Real Soldier 2, and just the fact that they continue to keep her as lighthearted as they do. I really hope that it's a storyline that they continue in Dino Fury, if you guys know what I mean. Oh, Jordan says, I haven't seen the finale and the Christmas episode yet, so don't feel bad. Well, I'm glad to see that somebody else is on this journey with me, Jordan. So thank you very much. I don't feel so alone anymore. Sam says, I would have liked to have seen Izzy swap to Amelia. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. The Ollie and Javi swap, I didn't really care for it too much. I think it would have been funnier if they did swap out, say, like Izzy and Javi, like switch out the siblings. I thought that would have been pretty funny. Talk about maybe some awkward moments between these two. Maybe like Izzy smelling Javi's body, like, hey, bro, you got to take a shower or something like that. Like the Ollie and Javi swap to me almost felt like there wasn't that much of a change. It felt like I was as equal as they come. So I probably would have preferred a different swap. But you know what? It did lead to a great original fight sequence with Izzy and Ion taking on the villains by themselves. So to be able to see them showcase their abilities really worked out for me in this episode. Izzy says, Adam, it's all good watching the episodes week to week. I spaced mines out day to day. I love the anticipation that comes by not binge watching. I totally agree. And I think for me, the idea, well, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against binge watching. I do love me a good series to just fall in love with and binge watch. You know what I mean? But it is one of those things. I think the idea of watching an episode week to week carries that momentum of this season for weeks, for months. You know what I mean? Whereas you binge watch something in a single day, who's talking about it that much afterwards, right after the season is over with. So it captures your attention for like a week and a half, and then you've moved on to something else. Whereas weekly, you continue to really talk about the show and just continue to enjoy it. JB says, is it just two more episodes left after this week? I believe, yeah, two more episodes and the Christmas special. Doomsday says, Simon Bennett, if you're watching this live action for whatever reason, make Dr. Akana a spin-off show. Yeah, again, that doesn't even have to be like a full-on spin-off show. I'll take a little web series over on YouTube on a Power Rangers channel or something like that. Just a little side thing that we have Dr. Akana more involved in. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, I think that'll certainly wrap it up. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining me here once again for another Dino Fury review for you guys. And yeah, two more episodes left and a Christmas special. I'm super pumped to see what the last two episodes are certainly going to be like. I think there was another Zato and Ion episode, if I'm not mistaken, where they go back to Ravcon or something that happens. They learn more about Ravcon, I think. Is that the next episode? If so, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. And then you got the finale, I'm assuming, which probably has more Void Knight involvement, a big climactic moment, and then a Christmas special. Boy, I'm excited. Doomsday says, are you going to talk about the Don Brothers? Of course, man. Of course. We got a bunch of stuff, man. Don't you worry about it. We got stuff to certainly talk about here this week. So guys, that will certainly do it for our Power Rangers Dino Fury discussion today. Thank you very much. And we certainly will be back next weekend as we dive into episode 20. That's crazy to think. Episode number 20, guys. All right. I'm pumped for it. Speaking of being pumped for Power Rangers or anything Power Ranger related at this point in time, This week, we wind up getting some information from Deadline.com that sat down with Entertainment One's Michael Lombardo. I feel like it's been a while since I brought up Michael Lombardo's name. We highlighted him the moment that he was actually hired onto Entertainment One, and just some of the ideas of what his involvement can sort of include, right? Like, for those of you who don't know exactly who Michael Lombardo is, and we'll dive into the Deadline article here this week. Michael Lombardo originally came over from HBO Max. He was definitely one that helped shepherd in some of HBO Max's sort of biggest, or not HBO Max's, but just HBO in general, some of their biggest shows from like Boardwalk Empire, Game of Thrones, right? I don't remember if I think The Sopranos was Showtime, if I'm not mistaken. But he's got a ton of great content under his belt that's over at HBO. When people had concepts for shows, ideas, this is the man that they presented those to, and he had that job to certainly go ahead and green light. So to be able to have that mindset of green lighting what he knows is going to work, what's going to go ahead and push a franchise forward, sort of thing, I always thought having Michael Lombardo on board with Entertainment One was a big plus for something like Power Rangers, certainly going forward, because if anybody can mine where the great content is when he sees it, Michael Lombardo certainly is that guy. And so it's been a while since we've had any updates in regards to what Jonathan Entwistle is working on, what is Entertainment One and Hasbro putting together for Power Rangers, and going to go ahead and provide for us. And while this week in this interview here that we're going to go ahead and highlight, while it doesn't necessarily give us a mind blowing, like, here's a synopsis, here's a plot detail sort of thing, here are some release dates, I do find it pretty interesting that they're at least still continuing to talk about it, giving us a little bit more insight, because it seems as though when it comes to Entertainment One and Hasbro, they have officially put together a deal with Netflix to have Power Rangers be on Netflix sort of as their new home, certainly going forward. And one that I'm very, very excited to go ahead and explore and dive into with you guys. So yeah, this is from Deadline. Entertainment One's Michael Lombardo and Hasbro's owned company's TV strategy from Dungeons and Dragons and the Power Rangers universes. We've also got Monopoly, Game Show, and more. And he talks a little bit more about other IPs that we have. So let's go ahead and dive into this article here, because it will give us a little bit more insight in regards to what is it that they're actually creating behind the scenes, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into this article. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Again, this is from Entertainment One. Oops, look at that. I didn't even have this shit ready for you guys. I'm sorry. That's what happens when you're away from the live stream for like a week and a half or so. So yeah, let's go ahead down here. It says in one of their first major moves after Entertainment One, $4 billion acquisition by toy maker Hasbro was completed in early 2020. Entertainment One's president and CEO Darren Thorpe and president of film and television Steve Bertram set out to find a head of television. They brought in former HBO president of programming Michael Lombardo initially as a consultant. Since he was named president of Global Television in June 2020, Lombardo has led a ramp up of TV projects based on Hasbro properties as well as original ideas. Of the Hasbro IP, a big priority for the company is to develop scripted and unscripted series based on the classic Dungeons and Dragons game. Lombardo said in an extensive interview with Deadline about his program strategy. It says, eOne Television already has been plotting a potential universe of multiple series and movies based on the company's Power Rangers IP, shepherded by Jonathan Entwistle, which we can reveal has been set up at Netflix. So this is the first time that we're hearing officially that Power Rangers' new home is in fact Netflix, certainly going forward. We thought the idea of Dino Fury moving over there, maybe that was something they were only doing for seasons 1 and season 2. I think the idea of us realizing that, hey, season 2 was going to be exclusively on Netflix definitely gave us a little bit of a heads up in regards to, okay, maybe they definitely have bigger things coming with their connection to Netflix. And it definitely seems so. The fact that they're plotting a potential universe of multiple series and movies based off of Power Rangers, shepherded by Jonathan Entwistle, will in fact be on Netflix. So, yeah, guys, multiple series and movies. And I think that's definitely the way to go. This is a really great, I honestly thought it was a pretty insightful interview in general. He does talk a little bit more about his time over at HBO. He also talks about a little bit about the passing of Brian Goldner, which I found pretty interesting because, one of the things that I think is interesting, especially when a CEO of a company passes away or moves on, right? They have an idea of what they want their company to be, the direction in which they want their company to certainly go. And when they go and new management comes in, sometimes there is a shift in priorities, and sometimes there's a shift in things of how things are done. So Deadline does ask him, we will go through the buckets starting with Hasbro. You mentioned Brian, who had been credited with steering Hasbro into that entertainment space. Following his death, will the company keep that course and support Entertainment One, providing resources for film and TV? And Lombardo says, look, Brian's passing, I won't say surprised everybody, but it was still very much felt in the company in a very profound way. He had a vision of how Hasbro would morph from a toy company to a brand company. He started that, and I do believe the company continues to be very bullish on that. That is the future they see, and entertainment part of that is critical to that vision. So every message we've gotten is full steam ahead. He's missed. He loved it. He liked getting in the weeds and so on a very personal level. That connection is gone, but I think Hasbro is firmly in this business. So this does give me just um you know look, things can certainly change, but this does at least give me a little bit more confidence that they plan on keeping his vision. I'm assuming, especially in the last couple of quarters with the pandemic easing up a little bit, entertainment really continuing to build, Hasbro really positioning themselves in a great position to be not just a toy company, but an entertainment company and a big brand like that. I think this is going to be certainly their big money maker going forward. So definitely full steam ahead. Don't stop, guys. Don't stop. But this is where we get into the Power Ranger aspect again. Deadline says you have in works quite a few projects based on Hasbro titles: Risk, Clue, as well as Power Rangers, which I hear was set up at Netflix several months ago. Can you give us a status update? So see, this when even though they're announcing this today, this is a deal that has been set in stone for several months. There are things that are always going on behind the scenes that we are not privy to until it's announced. So just because of the fact that it was announced this week doesn't mean they just inked this deal this week. This is something that has been in the works for several months. And I'm assuming, if anything, the last of Dino Fury being the second season of Dino Fury being on there and moving Dino Fury over there is probably part of the deal. But it says, can you give us a status update? And Michael Lombardo says, since we set up Power Rangers with Jonathan, we pitched really a whole world approach. It's not just one show. It is shows, plural, followed by films, plural. Some kids programming also. It says, we have found a great writing partner for him. They are off. Knock on wood. Netflix is excited. We're excited. We hope to have some news soon. So listen, some people will say, oh, we've heard all this stuff before, and that's fine if people want to say that. But I love just the little intricacies here that we can go ahead and nitpick. So yes, I am going to go ahead and gab a little bit because that is my gift. So I love the idea that it's saying a whole world approach, right? And I think we already kind of had an assumption that this was going to be a little bit of a cinematic universe, that they were going to build something out here better. But I think it also explains this is going to take some time, guys. I know a lot of us are really excited and we want to know what's happening, what's coming next, sort of thing. But when you have a whole world sort of approach and you're trying to create around this, shows, films, kids programming, that all certainly has to connect. that definitely takes some time. For me, please take your time, Hasbro, because I think they understand what they have on their hands. I think they understand that Power Rangers can be the Avengers of today, right? Like, we are in such a big pop culture, geek culture world that feeds off of this superhero element more than we ever certainly have. And maybe some people will say, well, some of it's getting a little bit old, some of it can certainly be a little bit lazy. So you still want to be able to create something that's not only original, but rather unique to things that you see on a regular basis these days, it feels like, when it comes to superheroes. So when you say a whole world approach, this is big. This is a big cinematic universe, and it's definitely going to take some time. I love the fact too that they mentioned that a lot of the stuff is plural. It's not just singular in the sense of, we're going to give you one show, we're going to give you one movie and one kid programming. That they have multiple things in mind, and this kind of almost reminds me of what they're kind of doing with, say, The Witcher over on Netflix. If you guys have checked it out, the Henry Cavill led Witcher series, right? We got a season 1 of that show. We're going to be getting a season 2 here in this December. But listen, they also have an animated film for The Witcher that's like a prequel to the series, like 1,000 years or 500 years or something like that, right? So they've got an animated film that they've already established. I think they're also going to be doing another. It's either a live, I think they're doing another live action spin-off series or another live action film in and of itself also that we're going to be looking forward to, right? So they're really building a whole world approach for The Witcher that I think Hasbro and Paramount can really kind of get on. Paramount, that Hasbro and Entertainment One can really get on board with, and really flesh out the Power Ranger universe to be something rather unique, right? Maybe a live action Power Ranger television show. If that first season is successful, maybe you come out with an animated series that kind of connects maybe some connective tissues to that first season, but it's like an animated prequel of like a previous new team that we've never been introduced to, right? And then eventually hitting us with maybe a film at some particular point in time. Maybe it's animated, maybe it's live action, still doing the kids programming stuff, right? So you can have something in the realm or format of, say, what we have over on Nickelodeon as of right now, but maybe all 100% original footage, maybe even a younger audiences than what they're already sort of providing for us already. So, and then having all that connected with each other, I think would really go a long way. So this really fascinates me. I know some people will say, oh, don't get ahead of yourself, focus on the first film first. But I think that's the benefit of being on a streaming service, is this fact that you don't have to rely so much on the box office, as long as you're telling a very compelling story and you get your viewership in, right? If Netflix loves the numbers that they're certainly seeing, they definitely will continue to greenlight more and more things in that sense. But if you come with them with a cinematic universe, you have these connective tissues and these pieces kind of already thought out and put together, Netflix clearly seems to be on board for them to have solidified this idea. So, I know a lot of people say, well, Saban and, Lionsgate back in 2017 said, we got 6 sequels in mind. What you got to remember, those were very much dependent on how the first movie was going to do in the box office, which is why we said, guys, don't talk so much about these sequels you want. Let's do the first one right, make a ton of money at the box office, and then we can come in with the sequels. That I don't think you necessarily have to worry about so much in regards to this. So you can have bigger overall arching plans in place. If you've already got that deal from Netflix, these things are definitely coming our way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this certainly all turns out. And again, I know Netflix does tend to cancel things from time to time, but I do think that when you have a cinematic world like that, and again, using The Witcher as a perfect example, you can have the actual Witcher series itself around for like 3 seasons, and then just create something new in its place, right? Like a new spin-off series in its place. The same thing can certainly happen when it comes to Power Rangers. Give us 1, 2, 3 great seasons of one particular team, and then boom, switch over to another team if you want, or another just another team in general if they want to kind of go that route. So there's a lot here, guys, that Power Rangers certainly seems to be turning into, and I'm really here for it. The one thing that did jump out to me I will say, just reading this, is the idea here that he says we have found a great writing partner for him. They are off in regards to look. They're both just trying to create at this point in time. The last time that we heard Brian Edward Hill was going to be the writer to kind of help with the film, to as the new writer for the film, I am curious as to why Michael Lombardo doesn't mention him here. You know, he does mention Jonathan Entwistle's name. You know, I don't know if it's a case of did he forget Edward Hill's name? Did he is there somebody new that's on board? Like, is Brian still working on this or not? Had they brought somebody else in that they're not yet ready to sort of announce? It just feels weird that my boy Brian Edward Hill's name isn't mentioned in here, because I would think that maybe Lombardo would certainly know his name as to who the writer is. So the fact that they don't mention him makes me wonder. It definitely does make me wonder in regards to, are we on our third writer now? Is Brian still working and they just didn't mention him in here? Who certainly knows? But this last line, knock on wood, Netflix is excited. We're excited. We hope we have some news. I did see Toku Chris over on Twitter the other day. He mentioned this particular knock on wood, and then he pondered the question, is there trouble in paradise? Right? Because anytime you knock on wood, that's usually mean what's like, we hope things don't F up, right? Like, we hope things don't mess up or anything like that. So he took it that way in regards to, hey, if you're knocking on wood, maybe there's trouble already brewing behind the scenes, sort of thing. Whereas for me, when I look at knock on wood, Netflix is excited, we're excited. This feels like, in a sense of, you know, hey, knock on wood, we just really hope this comes together as well as we hope that it does. We hope we don't have any hiccups, sort of thing. We hope that this all sort of certainly goes smoothly. Toku Chris agreed to disagree, but listen, you know, Toku Chris, and I think also maybe Joe from the Illuminati maybe have a little bit more insight in regards to what's going on behind the scenes. So while Toku Chris doesn't necessarily agree with me that he's just hoping that things go smoothly, he clearly thinks that there's problems going on behind the scenes. I don't necessarily see it that way so much in regards to, this is something, a whole world approach that's certainly going to go ahead and take time. You want to make sure that what you're creating is going to is worthy enough for Netflix to be paying you all this money to bring the cinematic world to life. So I get the idea of wanting to make sure that you got all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. So I get the idea of him saying knock on wood. I guess maybe for me, maybe I'm just being a little bit more positive in regards to this. But maybe some people like a Toku Chris and somebody else, maybe they, you know, who knows? I don't know if they're like the pessimistic type. I have no idea. But maybe they know something that I don't. But I just try and look at this more on the optimistic side of things, that I just think he's just hoping the best of luck that this goes as smoothly as they possibly can. So I'm not trying to read too much into that or try and say that there's problems backstage or anything like that. But I love what we got. I absolutely love what we wind up getting here, as it does in fact seem as though the world that they're creating, I think, is probably bigger than some of us even assumed to begin with. But can I brag for just a minute here, guys, real quick? For those of you who don't know, one of the things that I've been saying for months, if not like the past year or so, is that as much of a big movie guy as I am, as much as I love going to the movie theaters and experiencing that for myself, um, it's just a unique experience on itself. You know what I mean? I would love to see Power Rangers back in the movie theaters, but unfortunately, I just don't think that that was going to be the case. I even mentioned this to you guys, right? If you guys recall, back in June, we posted this very video up on our YouTube page: reboot Power Rangers movie going to theaters or streaming. And we posed the theory here and just a suggestion to Hasbro that, hey, if you're going to pull the trigger on this, Hasbro, you should probably go ahead and put this movie into streaming. And so the fact that this week we see that Hasbro and Entertainment One are coming out and letting us know, hey, we've got to deal with Netflix, that we've got shows and movies coming your guys' way, tells to me and kind of confirms just what we were hoping and kind of predicting, at the idea that the Power Ranger movie itself probably is going to be moved over to Netflix. I don't necessarily see it any other way than that, besides the fact that, yeah, the Power Ranger movie will in fact be a streaming movie. And if you guys go ahead and check out the video again, this is a video that I posted back in June of this year. You can go ahead and check it out if you want to search for it over on our YouTube page. I went ahead and I posted all my reasons as to why this was a good move for them. Okay. We're just what, 5 years, 4 years from the 2017 Power Ranger movie that unfortunately didn't do too well in the box office. I think for the most part, positive reviews, although I'm sure there are some people that there are aspects of the film that people think could have certainly have been better. It just didn't, unfortunately, draw the attention in the box office that I think Lionsgate or even Saban was really hoping for. And one of the things that I've always pushed is, okay, so if you want to do another Power Rangers movie, you'll wait 5 or 6 years and you want to put another movie out in theaters, almost like the general audience didn't just tell you before they don't want a Power Ranger movie in the box office, right? I mean, if people wanted more Power Rangers, they would have certainly have come out in droves to go ahead and see that movie. And unfortunately, they didn't. So why risk the idea of saying, hey guys, I know you didn't like that Power Ranger movie enough to come out and see it, but guess what? We're gonna give you another one. Like who's gonna take that chance to come back out to the movies to certainly see it when the first one didn't make its money? So risky to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to make a big production like that for Power Rangers to put out into the box office, only for it to what, not make its money back, even if it is certainly a good movie this time around. So I think the to mitigate that risk, the idea is moving your movie over to a streaming service. Again, doesn't mean that the movie's going to suck. We talked about it in the video. There are plenty of streaming movies that have gotten notoriety for how good that they are, and even some Oscar contenders, honestly, in this day and age. Streaming is changing the way that we're viewing our movie going experience. And when you've got streaming wars that are happening, when you've got different streaming services that are fighting and battling and willing to pay more than they probably should for fresh new content to keep up with the HBO Maxes and the Disney Pluses and things like that. You need fresh content. And to be able to do that, the idea that Netflix sees the potential in what this Power Ranger franchise could be, because trust me, it's not like Netflix just sat down and said, you know what, that Power Ranger franchise looks great. Let's just go ahead and sign this over. Here's a couple $100,000 for you guys, boom, or maybe $100 million for you guys, boom. They had to have sat down with Entertainment One and Hasbro. They had to have sat down with Michael Lombardo, even maybe Jonathan Entwistle, maybe had a little bit of a presentation or at least a pitch as to what all is going to be coming in this cinematic universe, that Netflix said to themselves, we want this. We want this. Not only just one show, not only just one kid programming, not only just one film, but plural of all of that stuff. Boom, here's your check. Let's make this deal, sort of thing, right? So if Netflix is that confident in Power Rangers bringing film and TV to their streaming service, maybe we've got something really good on our hands. It's something really unique and very ambitious from the Power Ranger franchise, certainly going forward. So, again, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but this is something that we even talked about and hopefully predicted since June of this year. 6 months ago, we were certainly ahead of the game in that regards into the direction of which Hasbro certainly might go with Power Rangers going forward. So I don't think this is a terrible idea at all. I think if anything, this almost allows us now to feel a little bit more secure that when it comes to Power Ranger content, we don't have to worry about the box office and how successful it is when it comes to bringing in that moolah. Now I feel like they can probably really focus on the storytelling, great character arcs, and great world building to really capture people's attentions to want to come back for more and continue to garner more and more views for the streaming service. So great stuff, guys. Again, if you want to go ahead and check out our video, it was this past June, available on our YouTube page. So definitely go ahead and hear further thoughts from us in regards to that. But let me go ahead and jump into the comment section here, see what some of you guys are definitely saying in regards to the Power Ranger stuff over on Netflix, because I thought it was a really great article that we got some weekend. For some people that are looking for some content, some news, this at least gives us a little bit of insight into what we can certainly expect. JB says, Wes says, I'm kind of scared about that since Netflix cancels shows that are really good. I guess it just depends on what the algorithm is, how many views a show is certainly getting. But I think that's the benefit to Power Rangers in the sense of, you can get how many ep seasons of Power Rangers do we truly need though? You know what I mean? Like we already get two seasons of a show on Nickelodeon, and technically, if you want to be like, if you want to be technical, they get canceled and they get renewed with a brand new season of something, right? So I feel like the format of Power Rangers, how they change formats and themes and things like that, probably work extremely well for something like Netflix. And I think you can take maybe bigger chances on Netflix than you can. So I'm not really worried about the idea of Netflix canceling shows just because of how Power Rangers is already certainly set up. And I think when you're thinking of a bigger cinematic universe picture where you're very much relying on other things to have connective tissues, I think if Netflix is giving them, are excited about their plans, they'll definitely give them the opportunity for their plans to showcase themselves and to see exactly how it's going to perform. So I'm not necessarily worried about it being on Netflix because of them canceling shows. Brian says this Power Ranger will get a Sentai adaptation in 2023 or not. That I'm still not sure. I think right now some of the rumors that are going on behind the scenes is that 2023 will celebrate maybe a 30th anniversary. Maybe we'll get ourselves a Zoologer adaptation. But again, it's nothing confirmed right now. Nothing confirmed. Mike Knight thinks Netflix is perfect for Power Rangers. I do too. Allows them for more creative control in regards to the writers and Entertainment One and what they want to go ahead and create. Could get various formats of Power Rangers, right? I mean, give me a TV 14, give me a TV PG for the kids programming, give me some animated stuff that might even push the boundaries a little bit for all we know in the TV 14 realm, maybe a little bit more mature sort of thing. There's a lot of things you can definitely do with it for sure. JB says, I do wish that Hasbro made their own streaming service. Listen, they've got the content to do so. They definitely have the content to do so. Like the idea, like I was really hyped about the idea. Like I was thinking, like maybe they would start their own streaming service. I thought maybe even like teaming up with like Paramount Plus or something like that would have gone a really long way, right? An original series on Paramount Plus or for Hasbro, original series of Power Rangers sort of thing. Really cool way. But now it looks like it's going to be a Netflix original series of Power Rangers, which has a great ring to it, if you ask me. Let's see here. What else are you guys saying? Who someone says Sam says we need a Power Ranger theme park and also a musical. I'll take that. I'll take that. Maybe not a full theme park, but a Power Ranger ride I think would be pretty cool. Why they haven't gotten on that, I have no idea. Izzy says Hasbro seems to be making smart moves. I would love to see a clean refresh in 2023, but it's good that they're taking their time to do things right. And I think I think that's something that a lot of us in the fandom should understand. Again, I know that there's a crave for new information and new details and what's going on. Why haven't we heard anything? It's been years. When you have a whole world approach like Michael Lombardo's referencing in here, and you see the plans of shows, films, kids programming, right? Plural. It's not like they have this mindset of like, we just want to do one of each sort of thing. They're thinking in a much bigger picture. That stuff definitely takes time, and having to have connective tissues between all of that, creating that sort of bigger world, if you will. I can see why they've been a little bit hush hush to make really bigger announcements until they've got all their ducks in a row, sort of thing. But I agree, Izzy. I do think that Hasbro seems to be making smart moves. Their acquisition of Entertainment One, I thought, was brilliant, bringing in really smart people like Michael Lombardo that have an eye for great and unique content that can really bolster Hasbro's IP and things like that. I think that stuff will go a really long way. It's funny because I over on Twitter, as of today, somebody actually tagged me in a post. Let me see where it's at. Oh, they showed a moment from Flash, live action TV show. I think it was with Godspeed or something like that. It's from at Ranger underscore universe. He says, just look at the comments because some people were referencing that this particular episode of The Flash felt very Power Rangers like, right? Like a lot of people were talking about the comparisons, bringing up Power Rangers to what the Flash show has kind of turned into 7 seasons later, sort of thing. It says, this is the exact reason why PR needs to get rid of that stigma it has against the general audience. Continuing Sentai adaptations will further kill the brand. He said, there, I said it, no more cheap for Power Rangers, right? Like, stop being cheap with Power Rangers. Put money towards the franchise itself. And with a big deal like this from Netflix, I'm sure Netflix is providing them with a ton of money here to go ahead and create something great with Power Rangers. But it is one of those things that Power Rangers very much feels like the original live action superheroes, right? I remember Jasmeet Badawalia from Beast Morphers came out and said, Power Rangers should be on the level of Avengers. We're heroes. We're trying to do right. We're saving people's lives. We got cool costumes, sort of thing. I totally agree. Like there is potential there, but you hold yourself back when you're not 100% original and you're dependent on Sentai footage to create what you can create, and while it's worked for Power Ranger fans for 28 years, to be able to truly allow it to now become something that's available to the general public for everybody, you got to go 100% original. It's just the way that I kind of see it. So I think this is a smart move. I think this will lead to a very clean refresh beginning in 2023 or maybe 2024 or whenever they decide to go ahead and drop this. But I think this is the right move. I definitely do think that this is certainly the right move. JB says, I'm very excited for more Power Rangers and hopefully something for the adult fans to watch. I definitely agree. I think maybe bumping it up to a PG or what is it, TV 14. I don't know if they would go so far as to do like a TVMA. Like, I don't know what all the TV ratings are. I just know of TV PG. I know of TV 14 and TVMA. I don't know if there's anything in between there, like TV 18 or 21. I really don't know. But I think there's a possibility to have shows that are just a range of different varieties for people, not just kids. DHR too. He says, I would say if they do a reboot for MMPR, do it like the Bumblebee movie did, set in the 80s. If you do Power Rangers the same way, have it set in 92 or 93 instead of doing that time traveling thing. We'll definitely see DHR too. Some good ideas. We'll see exactly what Hasbro decides to do, since clearly they have switched writers since the first script that they certainly had in mind. So whether or not the time traveling thing is still a concept or something that carries over, we'll definitely have to see. JB says what says he says I can see that the knock on wood comment, it might be trouble. I guess I don't see that. I guess when I use the term knock on wood, it's just like, hey, I hope nothing bad happens, right? Like I hope that this is smooth sailing, sort of thing. I've never really saw a knock on wood comment as like, oh, shit's going down creek, guys. We done effed up this whole thing. Like I've never seen it that way. But hey, if people want to look at it in that fashion, more power to them. But I've never looked at the knock on wood comment as something negative, just being hopeful that things go smoothly. Like, am I missing something here, guys? I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. AJ says, I noticed Adam's Ultraman trigger videos. He has a clip of Ultraman in the opening. Wish we had that for Power Rangers A plus, more phenomenal. Hey, you know what? With Hasbro, unfortunately, is a lot more anal about copyright than Subaraya production. So I think I can kind of get away with it a little bit. Datilla says, I like the 2017 Power Ranger movie. Was it perfect? No. Could it have been better? Yes. And I definitely agree with you, Datilla. And I think that it. Come in. I don't know if somebody's knocking on my door or not. Or, um, But what I was going to say is, you're absolutely right. The idea, could it have been better? Yes, and I do think had it been better, maybe it would have been done a little bit better at the box office. But unfortunately, it was not perfect. And so we wind up getting the movie that we did, and I'm a big fan of it. I enjoy it. It's a movie I can continue to watch over and over again. Marcelino says, I would prefer the theaters, but Netflix is needed, especially since people are abandoning Netflix in favor of other streaming services. I don't know where you're getting that from. I feel like Netflix is still top three when it comes to streaming services, probably right behind that of Disney Plus and HBO Max is a powerhouse. I mean, my goodness, we literally just got I mean, I'm trying to think what we just got Cowboy Bebop on Netflix. Trust me, Netflix is not going anywhere, guys. It's got 100 million like subscribers over the entirety of the world, sort of thing. It's not falling off anytime soon. I'm with you, Marcelino. I would prefer theaters. I mean, and even if Netflix is losing subscribers, trust me when I say it's still up there with like the top three when it comes to the streaming services out there. I don't get the idea of people jumping off board on Netflix. Like, these people are just missing out on great content, and great movies and television and things like that. So I don't see it that way per se. I'm like, because I'm thinking to myself, what other streaming services are you going to go to? Because right now, Netflix, HBO Max, and maybe Disney Plus are like the top three that are currently going around right now. So while I would prefer theaters, I agree with you. Netflix is certainly needed. And because of that, that's why Netflix will always certainly continue to stay around. Listen, I've been hearing people talk to me about Netflix is just going to lose all their subscribers once Disney Plus comes around. And that's yet to happen, man. That's yet to happen. So I'm not even worried about Netflix right now. Netflix is in great hands right now. Mike Knight says, best that the franchise is streaming. Some people not going to go to theaters, still scared of the pandemic. Best choice streaming. That's a win for Hasbro and Netflix. Yeah, I do think it's a win too. And no, and I will say this, when it comes to the box office, I do feel like people are getting more comfortable going back. We went and saw the Eternals, me, Cindy, and my mom this past week. And I thought originally it was just going to be the two of us or like the three of us in the movie theaters. And when I ordered my ticket, at least it was just the three of us. But when we actually sat down, the theater was still like half packed for people to see the movie. So I think people are willing to take that chance a little bit more and actually go out to the movies. I mean, we've seen it in the box office performances and things like that. So I'm sure by the time the Power Ranger movie comes out, the box office will be in better shape. But the point is, the last Power Ranger movie flopped. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, maybe it might stink for some of us Power Rangers to hear, but box office wise, regardless of how we felt about the movie, box office wise, the movie flopped. So, do you want to wait 5 to 6 months, 5 to 6 years, and put out another Power Ranger movie and hope this time's a charm? No way. I would not want to do that. That's just me. I'm not trying to take that risk, because then what happens is that officially nobody will want to touch a Power Ranger movie, right? Two back-to-back box office flops. The original movie, I think, was probably the best one in regards to box office. Turbo sucked at the box office. 2017 didn't live up to expectations at the box office. So you want to do another movie and put it out in theaters? You take that risk, my guy. But I'm gonna take my $200,000, $200 million elsewhere to go ahead and produce a movie and put it out somewhere else. I'm not taking that chance. Not taking it. Sam says, let's get a Bulk and Skull spinoff as Orange and Purple Rangers. I mean, you never know what they can create, man. They can create some great content. And it's one of those things, too. I think like even HBO Max is picking up on that idea, releasing a movie, creating a spinoff out of it, onto their streaming service, just giving them more content. I think the same thing can happen with Power Rangers. I don't know what they would do first, if they would do the Power Ranger film first to establish the new reimagined universe and then drop series out of that, or do you just come out straight out the gate with a brand new Power Rangers series, a season one, and then drop a Power Ranger movie right after that, right? Like, the possibilities are really endless in regards to how creative you can get, instead of just sticking with the same formula that we have for years. Koala says, I also don't think that we will get a non-kid show until 2024 or 25, but I do think we'll still get a movie in 2023. So that's good. I'm kind of on board with you there, Koala. I am still unsure about the 2023 date as of right now, but 2024, 2025, I could definitely see things really coming together. But who knows? Maybe next year, 2022, we get a much better clarity, that maybe we're not as far off as we think. So who knows? Marcelino says, thank God they didn't make their own original streaming service because we have too many already. Plus, international Power Rangers fans don't have access to some streaming services. Good point there, too. As much as I thought that that was the route that Hasbro was certainly going to go in regards to doing a streaming service, but you do make a good point. There's just so many out there right now, right? Like, why even try and do that? If anything, you probably are more beneficial instead of competing with other streaming services to just provide content for them. Do you think we'll get a panel about this at Power Morphicon next year? I will say yes, Datilla. I will say yes. Whether or not it's like Jonathan Entwistle shows up or Michael Lombardo or one of the writers, who knows? But I think we might get like a Power Ranger Future panel or something like that. The Future of Power Rangers panel, that type of thing. Ooh, Mike Knight says, just imagine a Ranger Slayer show and bringing back Amy Jo Johnson as Kim would be so epic. See the Grave Zord. See, that would be a great like animated spin-off film or something like that, right? Bring Amy Jo Johnson back to go ahead and do voice acting work for maybe like a Ranger Slayer animated series. Maybe have that tie into the bigger overarching universe they're trying to create. I like the way your minds work, Mike Knight. Those are the type of really creative things that we can really come up with. Edward thinks also that the perfect home for Power Rangers universe. Jordan says, I think there is a TV 17 rating, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I can't remember. Frankie does say TV PG. There's also a TVG, a TVMA, and a TV 14. So I think that's where I was thinking too. Um, Oh yeah, Y7 PGs. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ratings out there. So I think they could tackle certainly a whole plethora of content. Adam Perez says, how exactly was Jonathan Entwistle's last project successful, and why are you a huge fan of him doing Power Rangers? Well, to be honest with you, I think Jonathan Entwistle's last two projects, I think the first one maybe got 2 seasons. I think the second one got 1 season before it was canceled. So I don't even know if we want to necessarily say he has a successful track record so much as I think the shows that people had, like people watched of his, have probably all got really positive buzz and great reviews, but maybe just hasn't picked up the viewership that Netflix was kind of hoping that it would. You know what I mean? So I think his content has been good, but it just hasn't caught on in regards to viewership. I mean, a lot of his stuff does tend to be more teenage related, a little bit dark, a little darker in regards to its mindset and its approach, if you will. So it's pretty unique in its own sense. As far as like why am I a huge fan of him doing Power Rangers, I do think that he captures the teenage mind pretty well. I do think that he can get pretty creative with his writing style. I don't really know what his connection is to Power Rangers or if he even really grew up a big Power Ranger fan, but I would be interested to kind of see. But I'm just hoping, just based off of what I've seen from his writing and his previous stuff, I'm cool with it. I think I'd definitely be willing to give him a shot. Marcelino says maybe Netflix could tell a retelling version of Beyond the Grid and do a better job than what the comics did. Always a possibility, man. Always a possibility. Power Rangers Ready says, I still get confused on why some films have great box office, but mixed to bad reviews. Yet 2017 Power Rangers flopped and mixed reviews. Some PR fans gave it a bad score, mainly on Twitter, because box office doesn't relate to reviews. Um, the people that go see the movie can have a great experience, right? But it's not so much what people think of the movie so much as are people actually going to the movies to see it, right? Like, 100,000 people can go and see the movie and give it great reviews, but if only 100,000 people are seeing the movie, it's going to flop at the box office. So it's more about the number of people that go to see the film, and of course, granted, you definitely would like to have some good reviews, or at least mixed to good reviews in there to help out. But it's all about how many people are willing to go see the movie. Is it good enough to have word of mouth from people worthy to talk about it, to entice other people to kind of come out? So just because a movie has great reviews doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be very successful at the box office. All right, guys. But so yeah, other than that, that is in fact our Power Ranger news for the week for you guys. Michael Lombardo talking a little bit about the new TV strategy for Power Rangers universe, how really big and overarching the cinematic universe looks to be. Several shows, several films that they certainly have in mind, and I'm excited for it, man. I'm really thankful that Michael Lombardo has come out and certainly talked about it a little bit more. Again, maybe not super revealing in regards to exactly what we're getting, but I think at least expressing what the scope of this certainly could be sounds very, very promising. So definitely let me know your guys' thoughts in regards to that. And also, I meant to go ahead and pull this up too. Jonathan and Whistle himself actually reacted to it, saying, "I guess the cat's out of the bag. The new Power Rangers universe is coming to Netflix." That's from Jonathan Entwistle himself. So he is, in fact, confirming everything that Michael Lombardo said, and continues to show that, yes, I still have a job and I'm still working on it. So that's certainly still good to hear. So very promising in that regards, guys. All right. And with that out of the way, I think we're going to start transitioning over to some of our other television, our other news in the realm of tokusatsu for you guys today. I do want to go ahead and quickly dive into one topic before I get into the Don Brothers stuff for you guys today, because we have been talking really highly about Kamen Rider. And how Kamen Rider really plans on expanding things to try and get more international awareness onto this particular franchise. We've seen things like the Kamen Rider Fudo P animated series that's going to be jumping over onto Funimation. We've also got Shin Kamen Rider, the movie that they're going to be working on also. But we cannot forget the idea that they have another movie that they're going to be working on coming to theaters, and that is, in fact, Kamen Rider Black, ladies and gentlemen. As this week, we actually got our first look at this new Kamen Rider series, or I should say a retelling of the Kamen Rider series itself. So I thought it would be pretty fun to kind of go ahead and dive into this just a little bit. I am actually missing an article here. Give me a second, guys, to make sure I can pull this up properly. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and take a dive into the first look that we have. Here's the actual photo itself that they went ahead and showcased. It says Toei has released the first official image of the upcoming Kamen Rider Black revamp project titled Kamen Rider Black Sun. It says Black Sun is a heavily stylized take on the original Kamen Rider Black design. This new version will still include the signature Battle Hopper motorcycle, which we get the opportunity to see here also. So fresh new design for you guys for the Black Sun version, and then our first official look at the costume itself, which is it looks dark and gritty. I'm here for it. And they actually even revealed to us the SH Figwarts concept for the actual figure itself to kind of give you a better look in regards to what this suit will look like. For some reason, I'm getting was it Guyver? Guyver vibes from this take on the suit, honestly. It just looks so incredibly alien, if that makes sense. Loving the antennas, but yeah, I'm definitely getting Guyver vibes whenever I look at this. They also revealed to us that we do got ourselves some cast announcements in here too. It says the new project will be written and directed. It says actor Hitachi Nishijima will take on the title role, and you have Tomoya Nakamura who will portray the iconic villain in Shadow Moon. It says Shinji Higuchi, who's in charge of the concept visuals of Kamen Rider Black Sun, the lead actors of the series are also announced. It says both actors are huge names in the Japanese entertainment. Nishijimi most recently appeared in the movie version of What Did We Eat Yesterday, a television drama of the same name, while Nakamura has appeared in Coffee Akagi Disho, the live-action version of a manga series on both names. They did go ahead and recently come out and had some words to certainly say. Hitachi, he says, since it is directed by Shirashi, I am sure that it will be a deep and profound, socially oriented human drama. I will make it a film that adults can enjoy and also for children so they can carry Kamen Rider in their hearts. I want to do my best and risk my life to take on this challenge. I would like to take on this role with everything in my power and everything that I have. Man, I love that energy. I love that energy. So the Black Sun, that's exactly who I believe that they are referring to. That's the actor that's going to be playing Black Sun. I love his energy and his mindset. Now, for the gentleman that's going to be playing Shadow Moon, the villain, Tomoya Nakamura, he says, in true Shiraishi fashion, I have a feeling that this will be a work where we can enjoy the story of people, history, catharsis, the spirit of Kamen Rider, and the pain that Black carries with him. So I love this. I love the sound of that. So those are words from the two actors that are going to be in this particular film, the Black Sun main Kamen Rider and the villain themselves. And again, our very first look at Kamen Rider Black Sun. It says it is expected to hit theaters in 2022. And those articles and tidbits come from both TokuNation.com along with Tokusatsu Network, ladies and gentlemen, as we have our very first look at this. And again, I love it. The logo looks compelling to me. I absolutely love it. The suit looks intriguing. I've never seen anything quite like it. And like I mentioned before, rather alien. So it feels like it is certainly going to be rather dark, and it feels like it's really going to be touching on the human spirit and the human drama. And I'm here for it, man. I'm absolutely here for it. Let's see here. Mike Knight Hero says Kamen Rider Black Sun looks so noir. Like I dig it. I definitely dig it too, man. I definitely see what you're referencing in regards to its noir sort of themes and things like that. So I'm there with you. And the fact that he mentions, like, even in here, that it's going to be compelling enough for adults, but maybe something that children can even carry along with them. I'm not quite sure, but I will say this: maybe it may not necessarily be directed at children, but it is one of those things. I think even for me growing up as a kid, sometimes we do tend to watch things that are a little bit above our age range, you know what I mean? But it leaves very lasting effects on us and really great lessons for us, I think, as kids, to be able to take with us as we grow older. So I do like the idea that they don't mind pushing the envelope a little bit more. KL says the original Black series was dark, and it feels like they're going to carry that over too. It definitely feels like they're going to carry that over too. So I'm really, really looking forward to it, guys. But again, you've got your first look at Kamen Rider Black Sun. I'm sure more information will continue to drop when it comes to Toei and all of their Kamen Rider projects, because it does feel as though the end of 2021 and even 2022, big years for Toei and the Kamen Rider franchise, guys. So definitely look forward to that. Next topic, we're going to go ahead and transition over to more Tokusatsu news. And guys, this is what you guys have been waiting for. I know. So thank you very much for sticking around. Listen, we've got some Avataro, Sentai, Don Brothers, not only rumors, but silhouettes, ladies and gentlemen. We got our very first leak footage. You guys, your first leaked picture. They kind of did this with Kamen, I believe. We had like a silhouette of 5 characters at the bottom of a page in like a magazine scan that they had years ago. Let me see. Do I even still have that? Because silhouettes seem to be the thing these days. Like, look what we don't want to show you yet, guys, and kind of keep it as a surprise for us. But I really dig it. So it looks like in this particular photo, we've got Momo Brother here, the main ranger, who's going to be the Red Ranger, along with Zenkaiger from the Zenkaiger team himself. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is going to be like, and really having to guess to see what the costume itself will certainly look like. Also, I was trying to find that Kamen ad that we wind up getting a couple years back, but I don't think I have it saved on here, which is a little bit of a bummer. So that's okay though. But yeah, Don Brothers will be here before we know it, guys. I'm assuming, if anything, releasing sometime probably in March of next year. We'll definitely see. But this is our very first image that we have. So let the guessing begin in regards to what this costume will look like. You know, the real Matt Hunt online did go ahead and post some set photos, but he himself was even unsure if the set photos that he was watching or looking at were even set photos from Don Brothers. Even though he says take it as a grain of salt, he even in his comments said this could be for a completely different tokusatsu show that's being filmed. I have no idea. So that's one of the reasons why I did not bring up the photos as of yet, because they didn't really show too much. I mean, they did show somebody in a costume, but it felt so vague that it's really hard to even tell, is this even Don Brothers or not? So I'm not even going to risk it to even just put up just random ass photos of some other tokusatsu project that's happening and it not turn out to be Don Brothers as of yet. So, but this is in fact Don Brothers for sure, that we can go ahead and have some fun with. And just based off of some of the rumors, grains of salt that we've seen in the past, talking about more on the toy leaker. Leaker clarifies that the visor is black. There's a peach on his forehead, and things like that. And we've also heard rumors and things, well, not rumors, but I guess it has been confirmed in a sense that there's supposed to be like a hair knot or like a knot on the top of his head. You can clearly see that from his costume. And it feels very Momotaro themed, if you ask me already. You know, we've also heard some of the rumors that the visor itself was going to be very like a peach leaf theme. Do I have some of these rumors up here? No, that's not the one I want. That's not the one I want either. I think I pulled up the wrong one. But I will say this. If we look at Momotaro himself, the knot, boom, right there, right? The hair knot, boom. If you look on his bandana, he's got a peach right there. A peach on his bandana. Some of the things that we've been seeing from the real Matt Hunt is saying that he's got a giant peach, a giant silver peach on his forehead. So it would almost line up with the idea of that bandana and his hairstyle really being sort of the helmet and the mask design of the Don Brothers. The idea of the hair knot, the peach on his forehead, and then the peach leaves maybe being as his visor, which I think would be really cool looking. I don't know. We'll see how it actually looks. But the fact that they take concepts from the folklore of Momotaro, from something as simplistic as a hair knot and his bandana that he's wearing with the peach, and forming that into an entire helmet, that feels pretty damn creative to me, honestly, also. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this is going to be like when it's revealed. It looks as though he's got similar arm gauntlets on there also to Zenkaiger. He too seems to have an armor that they've referenced before in some of these grain of salts Also, you can clearly see the shoulder pads on there. They definitely are shaped differently from Zenkaiger, so this definitely will be its own unique thing. But then you can even see like where the armor cuts off sort of mid chest as well, before his body continues down to his belt. So I'm eager to see what this full chest plate is going to look like. I don't think I've read too much in regards to what the chest looks like, although I think they said it reminds them of Zenkaiger, but I think it's just the fact that it is a chest armor. I don't think it's going to have that same exact design in the middle of it, but it does make me wonder exactly as to what it's going to look like. So yeah, guys, this is our first glimpse into the Don brothers, and I'm really excited to see what this is gonna eventually look like. I believe they've been mentioning that we're probably gonna get ourselves a much bigger. Toku Nation says the first apparent glimpse of the 46th Super Sentai series, Avataro Sentai Don Brothers. It says has been found online. The silhouette shows an armored figure similar to Zenkaiser with an interesting head decoration. A full reveal of the Don brothers is expected by the end of this year. So stay tuned for further details in the next chapter of Super Sentai history. So yeah, guys, I think that's exactly what we're getting. The hair tie from Momotaro, the peach maybe in the very center of his helmet on his forehead, and maybe the peach leaves being his actual visor itself. I love it. I love the fact that they're being that creative with this particular um, concept design. We'll see. Again, it's just a silhouette right now. I guess we'll see the color schemes and what the rest of this team particularly looks like. But I'm kind of excited. Like I'm really intrigued and excited, and not just even for Momo brother, the main Red Ranger, because this guy is supposed to be red. I will be interested. Like, why couldn't they have made him orange, right? Like, if he's gonna be a peach, can he be like a light orange or something like that? Like, I think that would be pretty cool to see. But apparently, this guy's gonna be the Red Ranger. So we'll see what it looks like. Let me see if you guys are saying anything in regards to this, though. Enrique, real quick off topic, going back to Kamen Rider real quick. Have you checked out the full trailer for Kamen Rider Beyond Generations? I saw Saber will be teaming up with Revi and Vice taking on. I have not watched it. No, I have not watched it. Again, I'm very much against Kamen Rider Revice. We don't really talk about it much on the show. So unfortunately, because it's in the trailer, I'm just not going to even highlight it or give it the time of day sort of thing. He says, what about the Avataro leaked filming? Again, I want to fully stress that I'm pretty sure that nobody has confirmed that the pictures. I'll even pull it up since Brian wants me to talk about it. Let me see if I can find these images. Oh, and there's more rumors here. Okay, I'm so glad that all right, let me go ahead and pull this up here, guys. I'm already seeing like pictures of people trying to do their own concepts. Let me go ahead and pull up some. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up this page so you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at and laughing at. Since Brian wants to talk about the leaked filming, let's talk about the leaked filming. I'll do this. I'll do this one for you, Brian, for sure. Even again, take this as a grain of salt, guys. Okay, grain of salt. So this was somebody's concept already, trying to put. I kind of dig the concept, at least the peach buckle and the peach helmet, the visor. I kind of dig it. um we'll get to the rumors here. Ridiculous annual fun with rumors team. Did somebody like literally create an entire team of a pheasant, a monkey, and a fox as the team? Is even a bear included, a sea turtle. I love it, guys. Coming up with some great, hilarious. Oh, I gotta. Damn it! Hold on one second. I messed myself up. Hold on a second, guys. Give me a second. Where did it go? That's not what I wanted. I'll get back to this page too for rumors because I see the real Matt Hunt just posted something new. So leaked filming set of Kamen Rider, I mean, excuse me, of Avataro Don Brothers spoilers. So here's a couple of photos. Again, the real Matt Hunt said he was even unsure as to whether or not this was it at all. So I don't necessarily even want to push this as saying this is Don Brothers. But here's a couple of the photos. Here's one photo that you guys can see here. Somebody getting dressed up in his suit. It looks completely random to me. It's just a human with like blocks of styrofoam, it feels like, on them that just happen to be peach. I don't really know what there's really no connective tissues that I'm showing. Here's another set photo also from something that's being filmed. Again, this is one of the reasons why the real Matt Hunt said, guys, I don't even know if this is if this is what we're looking for. Why is this stuff not, are these like, I don't know why my thing keeps going away when I'm trying to pull up these photos. Are they just not? Here's another one. See, this doesn't even look like anything related to Don Brothers, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is like Oni's sister or like one of the villains or something like that. For all we know, this could be like a photo shoot that somebody's just randomly taking. Who knows? So really not anything associated, I think, with some of the leaks that we've seen or heard about in regards to who this could particularly be, right? Like the Momo brother's supposed to be the Red Ranger, and even as this Twitter poster, this Twitter user says, that ain't even the Don Brothers silhouette, right? So I don't really know how much of these photos are really even Don Brothers to begin with, which is one of the reasons why I didn't want to show them in the first place, because it just feels so incredibly random. So even the real Matt Hunt says recent filming pics have revealed what is allegedly a Don Brothers suit. Keep in mind, this is not confirmed, and even if it doesn't turn out to be real, could be a villain or something. It absolutely could be a villain that we haven't been introduced to as of yet. So we'll see. We'll absolutely see. But it's one of the reasons, again, why I definitely did not want to go ahead and bring it up, just because I want a little bit more concrete evidence. You know what I mean? Before we go ahead and do that. Some casting rumors. He says the role of Oni's sister is rumored to be played by model and talent Yukimi Miru. Take that as a grain of salt, also, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys think in regards to some of those photos that we're seeing. Do you think that this is connected to the Don Brothers? Again, it's not necessarily even the Don Brothers silhouette that we've seen. Do you think this could be a villain, or do you think this is like a completely different tokusatsu that's currently being filmed? Go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. So yeah, guys, let's see here. What else are you guys saying? Let me go ahead and pull this back up here. Dive back into some of your content. Let me see. Blossom says, I'll bet the new suit would be red, but with peachy undertones and kind of metallic and a bit of a samurai look design too. I could definitely see that. I'm hoping his main weapon certainly is a samurai sword, just based off of Momotaro's theme in general. If they're, if they're already kind of using his bandana and his hair knot as influence for the helmet, what else are they going to be using as influence? The samurai sword, right? I think some of the rumors that we had heard was talking about that it could be a Momotaro and a samurai theme. It wouldn't be too far off, right? I mean, he does kind of have a little bit of like samurai armor that he kind of already rocks with his open jacket, a samurai sword too, sort of thing. So I do like where your mindset is at, Blossom, in regards to what the design could potentially look like. Doomsday says this is going to be a hella weird Sentai show to watch. If you think this is going to be a weird show to watch, watch Zenkaiger, because that's just weird as can be. But you're right. I think this is going to be really unique in that sense, and I'm here for it. I do think it will be maybe some weird elements, especially if we're talking about CGI characters or maybe even animals that might be rangers themselves. I don't know. KL, you're talking about a theory that I've been talking about on Zenkaiger for like the past 2 or 3 weeks. The idea that because they talked about that this main character is going to be introduced to he's going to be introduced in Zenkaiger beginning in January. And one of the theories that I have been pushing around for the past several weeks was the idea of maybe that's where they find Kaido's mom, right? Maybe she creates brand new technology and manages to land on a world that's a Momo world, Momotaro world, for all we know, right? And actually bumps into these particular characters and makes their equipment. So trust me, KL, I love what you're thinking, just because we've been thinking about that for the past several weeks also. Blossom says, "I wonder. It would be cool if they use the Momotaro Wonder Book and in the Sentai someday. Who knows? Maybe we get ourselves a Don Brother and Kamen Rider Saber crossover. I think that would be pretty cool." I haven't really seen a helmet. You said the helmet of Oni's sister kind of looks to me like A Squad Yellow Ranger. I haven't seen an Oni sister helmet. If you have, certainly go ahead and let me know where you found it at. I have not seen that at all. Trying to do some research here on Don Brothers over on Twitter right now to see any fresh things wind up popping up. So yeah, that again, this is one of the reasons why I'm only really highlighting the silhouette, because just based off of some people are saying it is leaked filming photos from Don Brothers. Again, maybe it could be a villain that we haven't been introduced to as of yet. But a shout out to Brian for getting me to pull up those images for you guys. We'll see if they actually are Don Brother related once the series begins, though. But yeah, guys, go ahead and let me know some of your thoughts in regards to the what you guys think the design is fully going to go ahead and look like. And we'll go ahead and continue along with Don Brothers, because trust me when I say there are more rumors that are certainly headed our way. And it should be fun to go ahead and tackle these with you. So let's go ahead and dive into some rumors, guys. Rumor time for Don Brothers here. Just recently, the real Matt Hunt released new Don Brother rumors. Grain of salt, please. Oni's sister can grow big or small at will, which is a cool little power and concept to certainly have for yourself. In a few days, we will get the silhouette of Momo Brother, which we certainly did. So that definitely came true. The wooden box seen in recent filming photos is used to seal away the evil side of Oni's sister. I think he might have provided. Did he provide the? I thought he provided an image of the box that he was referring to, but maybe I'm wrong. And he says the villains want Oni's sister to be on their side, as she seems to be related to the leader, which I love that concept, right? Can you imagine having somebody on your team that has a personal connection to the main big bad of your series and having that sort of internal conflict, maybe even pull at you, that struggle back and forth of being, part of your family, maybe wanting to go back to your father and your family, or sticking with Momotaro and have that good side of you certainly come out, right? I think that would be so fascinating to kind of see if that's exactly what happens when it comes to the Oni sister specifically. So the villains seemingly want Oni's sister to be on their side, as she seems to be related to the leader. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. A couple other rumors here. The Sue actor leaker has appeared almost on cue. These are the confirmed colors of the Don Brothers team. So we've got Peach, or Momo brother himself, as red. You've got Oni, who's going to be yellow. The dog is going to be black, the monkey's going to be blue, and the pheasant is going to be pink. It does say how Black Jurin with a bird face works into this? No clue, but this does at least partially confirm that even though the dog, monkey, and pheasant are CG characters, their ranger suits are actually suits. And I guess for me, my thing would be, okay, so if they're CG characters, are they going to look like animals, or are they going to look more like mech animals, right? Like again, when I think of Kamen Rider Saber, was it Blades, I believe he was riding on like a blue line in the very beginning or the very end of episode 1. That looked kind of mechanical, you know what I mean? It was an animal but mechanical. So does that animal have like a transformer mode when it henshins into like an actual live, like a actual person body, but in their color scheme, right? So like, does monkey look like a mechanical monkey, but when it transforms, it transforms into a person shape and he's in a blue costume? Or are we literally going to get a mechanical monkey that when he henshins still looks like a monkey in a blue Super Sentai suit? Give it to me either way, man. Give it to me either way. And who knows, right? Like maybe some of the leaked photos that we just showed, maybe that's like the animal transformed or something like that into like a human form, and they just need to plaster, you know, CGI wise, the color scheme on them. Who certainly knows? It does make me wonder more about Kaido and Juren's connection to this team, saying that they were going to be more recurring characters to this. So I do wonder, like, if they're going to just be literally like side characters. Are they going to be the 6th and 7th Rangers to this team? Is Juren just going to be like an additional utilized just as a mecha sort of thing, right? To combine with some of the upcoming Zords that they have, sort of thing. I don't know how this is all going to work out, but we do have some new confirmed, or at least I should say some new rumors for you guys. But these are in fact confirmed colors for the team, so definitely look out for that. And then of course the Oni sister stuff tends to be the rumors. So definitely continue to keep that as a grain of salt. With that said, though, I just mentioned when we were going through Twitter that the real Matt Hunt actually posted some new. It says this was 6 hours ago. Let me see. Where'd it go? I just had it. Real Matt Hunt, don't do this to me, my guy. You were just here a second ago. You really gonna make me have to down? You delete it? I swore you just tweeted it, bro. Here we go. 6 hours ago. Don Brother Rumor Time. I stress strongly that these are rumors, okay? Rumors. More rumors were posted. Grain of salt. This does not come from a verified source. He says, and as such, I don't believe them myself, okay? So even Matt Hunt saying this is not verified. He doesn't even quite believe them. So please, grain of salt in regards to this. So this one feels like maybe it's more of a stretch than anything. So let's keep that in mind. And you guys let me know what you guys think. He says, Henshin item resembles sunglasses. The team uses a sword that looks similar to the sunglass slasher from Ghost. Interesting. Sunglasses feels a little bit off from just the main theme in general, but who knows? The sword concept feels Momotaro, but sunglasses, Zanglass sword is a confirmed item via the trademarks, it says. So perhaps they install the sunglasses into it to transform. Interesting. So remember that, guys. We did mention some of the trademarks a couple of weeks back. The Zanglass sword is a confirmed item via the trademark, so perhaps they instill the sunglasses into the transform. This would be for everyone except Momo Brother, as we already know this Henshin device is the Dawn Blaster and his Sentai gear. It is also suggested. It almost kind of reminds me of like was that Go Busters? Didn't they have like the glasses that came out of their the changer and connected to them, and you know everything else happened? I thought it was pretty cool. It's also suggested that the entire team will use the new Sentai gears. So maybe the sunglasses are somehow related to that. Could that explain why we have so many candy collectibles in one set? Interesting. It says Uni Brother and Kiji Brother do not transform from humanoids, but Saru Brother is a suited character before transforming. Not sure if this is suggesting that Kiji is technically a male pink, as it's using brother. Momo brother's identity is Don Momotaro. Okay, so major grains of salt there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, guys. So I thought that was pretty interesting to highlight for you guys today. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in some regards to some of these particular rumors that we have. Let me jump to the comment section real quick for you. KL says CG characters will really test the actors' acting skills. Absolutely, always does, especially when you don't have anything really in front of you to work with. It's one of the reasons why I kind of dig Ricky and Katana from Zenkaiger. At least Flint has something to work in front of, even if they are like just little characters on sticks. Solar morphers, that would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. And no, Brian, I'm not expecting this to be adapted to Power Rangers like at all. At all. We really got to get off of this concept of Power Rangers being Super Sentai being adapted for everything Power Rangers related in the future. There's a brand new future ahead that we got to wrap our heads around. So no, I'm not. I'm not even considering this Sentai Don Brothers as an adaptation anytime soon. But we'll see. Crazier things have certainly happened. But all right, guys. Other than that, that will in fact wrap up all of our main topics for the day. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly coming through today, as always. Great, huge topics. Definitely worthy of a live show today. So, and it feels great to be back in front of the camera talking with each and every one of you guys about this amazing content that we have certainly coming our way, from Power Rangers to Tokusatsu, guys. A ton of great stuff to look forward to. All right, guys. And I think other than that, it's time now to move on to, you know what? Damn. I also have one last thing left, guys. The Zenkaiger review, episode 36. Zenkaiger review, episode number 36 for you guys today. I forgot this was even on my docket. I almost went straight to my live viewer questions, and we will get there in just a second. But I want to say this real quick. This was episode number 36 of Zenkaiger. We had a Jack in a Box world here that literally would just pop out surprises. At first, when this episode starts off, it literally is just surprises. It's not even anything really worthwhile, right? It almost feels like it's a worthless sort of monster of the week for them to certainly use. But then the true surprise actually does happen as Bara Shitara in this Jack in a Box world actually show and reveal their true intentions and things like that. So I enjoyed this episode for a lot of reasons here. I continue to love the Stacy and Hokkaiser storyline. I continue to love the relationship between Kaido and even Zox, how him and Two Kaiser certainly do get along in here, because we do see that right now Kaido's mindset in this episode is truly to get his father back. It feels weird, honestly, reviewing Zenkaiger for you guys, because I don't feel I've ever really done it on A Plus More Phenomenal before. But if you guys are watching the series, I definitely hope that you are enjoying it and enjoying our reviews, even though it is a love-hate relationship with me and Zenkaiger. So maybe you guys will experience that firsthand in this week's episode that we talk about. But it is one of those things where Kaido definitely wants to get his father back. Now that he realizes the identity of Hokkaiser and that it is in fact his dad, he just wants to get his dad back at all costs. And so the idea here is that, now that he knows that Hokkaiser tends to be brainwashed, the only way to actually speak to his dad is to fight with Hokkaiser, exhaust him of all his energy so that his father can kind of be revealed and his mindset can kind of come back to reality and maybe even talk with him directly. So the idea in here is that they really want to capture his father, or at least get his father to come out into the open. And so Zox takes it upon himself with one of his plans to go ahead and kidnap the Jack in a Box world in here. And for me, it was really cool to see this aspect of Zox's personality, because we always known him to be a pirate, right? To kind of do things maybe off kilter than how Kaido and the rest of the team certainly would. But to go to the lengths of getting Jack in a Box or capturing him and then torturing him, if you will, to have Hakaiser be drawn out, I thought was pretty interesting. Like even Ricky and Katana, his brothers, thought it was cool and hardcore of his brother. Flint immediately knew that Kaido was not going to be up for this plan at all. The idea of literally capturing someone, torturing them in order to get his father to certainly come out into the open, right? Feels a little bit dark. I mean, they literally even had Jack in a Box hanging over a pile of spikes to where if he acted up, he would fall to his demise, sort of thing, right? I did laugh at the idea that Flint and them just wanted to tickle him a little bit with some feathers to maybe draw them out. But it's when Barashitara actually shows up instead of Hakaiser, where Zox and Flint realizes we effed up, that this was part of the Toji Tando's plan all along, knowing that Kaido would want to get his father back. They just didn't expect Zox to be the one to be hunting and trying to get Hakaiser to certainly come out. So when they fall upon this trap that the Toji Tendo has certainly set for them, Zox and Flint are in for a world of hurt. And I love the action in this episode, seeing Zox with the inability to morph and really fight to protect himself, getting his ass whooped, seeing Flint get knocked out by the boxer trying to protect Ricky and Katana. I mean, she takes a straight shot to the jaw before being knocked out cold in here, and really being trapped inside of this warehouse that's up in flames, sort of thing, right? So Zox really put himself in a really terrible predicament, doing something as dark as like trying to torture somebody or keep somebody captive in order for somebody else to kind of come out. So for me, I thought that swerve worked out extremely well in this particular episode. So I absolutely love what we wind up getting. Great plan, to be honest with you. And it really comes down to the idea that by the end of this episode, we got Zox and Kaido, who again doesn't agree with Zox's method at all, and really has a sit down conversation and talk with him. And it does kind of show you a little different side of Zox's personality. The idea that having friends is kind of he's kind of warming up to the idea. You know what I mean? He's always really lived his life doing things his own way, having his entourage, his hype men, with him by his side, but now having friends that will hold him accountable. He even mentions in here, like, things are a little bit more different, but I think he appreciates what it's certainly doing for him and his family to have somebody like Kaido really hold him accountable for maybe having, doing everything the pirate way all the time. So I thought that was pretty cool in regards to what it's doing for Zox at the end of the day. For me too, Hakaiser and Stacy's storyline continues to win me over in here. The brainwashing of Hakaiser is certainly a success. Hakaiser certainly is very much on his own time now. No one else really telling him what to do. I mean, we saw a moment in here where he was fully recharged. He felt some sort of sensation and then just left the Toji Tendo to dive right into the middle of this battle that was certainly happening with everybody on board with Barashitara and Two Kaiser and things like that. Even to the point to where Hakaiser makes this stance of, I don't want to feel like I'm being owned by anybody. Like people can just pull me any direction that I want to go in. It almost seems like he's becoming a little bit more self-aware of his own self, which I find pretty interesting. But for me, it's the Stacy aspect too, where you get to see Stacy really kind of being fond of having somebody positive in his life that wants to partner with him, that wants to help him out. Definitely giving him sort of those father vibes, you know what I mean? Somebody that Stacy can kind of fall and rely on at times and things like that. He's never really had somebody like that in his life, and it's just really interesting that just one of his biggest gripes with Kaido has always been, you've gotten everything, right? Like you've had everything given to you, great parents, great opportunities, whereas me, my dad's Barashitara, like that says everything, right? Probably killed my mom at some point in time. And the fact that he finally has something good in his life that he is looking forward to, it almost feels like the animosity and the jealousy has kind of been refueled here, whereas Stacy is like, nah, I don't want you to have this too. Like, this is mine, this is for me, you can't have your father back, sort of thing. Because it almost feels as though Stacy maybe looks to him as a father figure in the sense of Hakaiser, or at least just a reliable partner, which I think really does go sort of a long way. But it does make me confused in regards to Stacy, when he looks at the candy shop card and he apologizes to Yachan and crumples it up, sort of thing. I get the idea of taking a stance and wanting something for yourself, and maybe saying sorry because, hey, I got to go out here and whip your grandson's ass, you know what I'm saying, to get what I want. But I don't think he's looking at the bigger picture here, is that, okay, so now you're not only whipping her grandson's ass, but you're also preventing, I would assume, her own son or her own son-in-law from actually coming back home to her, which would also make her a very happy camper, right? So it just seems like Stacy's just making all the wrong decisions. But I love the path that he's definitely going down, and I would be really interested to kind of see where it goes from here. That's really what's keeping me around this series, is the Stacy, the Kaido, and the Hakaiser storyline as of right now. A quick honorable mention does go out to Ijirood and the Toji Tendo. I love that Ijirood is called out in this episode, right? The theory that we had of Ijirood having stolen the schematics. Whoa. Whoa, internet just like dropped immediately. Asked my girlfriend, I said, babe, did our internet drop? And she said, I think Mew Mew, which is our cat, I think our cat was messing around with the wires in the back. So I think she might have accidentally disconnected us. So I apologize. I apologize, guys, in regards to that. Damn cats. I swear they're psychopathic, man. Cats are so fucking weird. Anyway, I do love the fact that Ijirood at least gets called out in this episode. The idea of at least confirming that, yeah, Homeboy did steal their technology to go ahead and create. But what he did do was he actually did go ahead and at least create the parallel world gate for himself. Creating that opened up the idea of being able to find the people that are smart enough to steal technology from. So I guess in regards to that, Boca Was definitely does give him, congratulations for at least having an eye for talent. To be able to say, I think we're gonna steal technology from this guy, from these people, because they seem extremely smart. So yeah, so we go from Boca Was being upset to congratulatory for Ijiru. So I thought that was pretty interesting to say the least. A couple gears used in here. Sager. Let me just make sure my mic is working properly too. Okay, just making sure I'm using the right mic. Let's see here. Yeah, the Sager, I think, gear they used in here for the Gosei Knight, and then the Go 5, that they used, that the Zenkaiger team actually used in here to put out the fire and save Flint. And I thought it was a really cool usage of it, because it did feel like I was watching Lightspeed Rescue all over again, with just how you had Jurin busting through the fire and things like that. Majin Ranger checking her pulse and putting oxygen on her, them carrying her out, Flint out on the stretcher and things like that. I really love the usage of the Go V in this episode, or Go 5, I should say. And then even had myself a really good laugh when we see Vroom utilizing the Zenkai cannon, and as he shoots it, half his body comes off. I thought that was pretty funny overall too. All right. Other than that, guys, that's it in regards to Zenkaiger episode number 36. So, not a bad episode, one that was certainly rather enjoyable. Again, I continue to love the Kaido, Stacy, Hook Kaiser stuff. I'm definitely here for it. The wittiness, the humor, the quirkiness of it, some of the dialogue still continues to win me over. But yeah, I am excited to see what we have in store. What is it, episode 36? So we probably have 10 or less episodes left. So we're almost there. We're almost there, guys. All right. And with that out of the way, we will transition over to our last segment of the show, and that will in fact be our live viewer questions, guys. How do you get your live viewer questions online? I'm glad that you asked. Feel free to submit them over anytime to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Again, that's aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. And we'll definitely go ahead and highlight your questions on the show at the very end. So let's go ahead and dive into this, man. Johnny Marrero's got a couple questions for us. Thank you for coming through, Johnny. Do you know... Wait, what date was that? That was a week ago. Okay. Did you know that Trey of Triforia was going to have a bigger role in Zeo and have a spinoff too? How would you feel if that happened back then? I would have been kind of cool with it. I mean, I think, but then again, I think, does that mean that we wouldn't have gotten Austin St. John to return? So I don't know. I have seen him doing some conventions lately, putting himself out there. So I think that's been pretty cool. Maybe it would have worked. But I kind of like the idea of having Jason. He said, I saw one of the covers for issue 3 of Power Rangers Universe, and it features Roxy of Beast Morphers. Do you think this issue will focus on her? No, I think it might have just been a variant cover, but maybe I'm wrong. And sometimes when it comes to variant covers, I'll just put anything up, But I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. Let's see here. Do you want to see Quantum Continuum happen for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers? I absolutely do. I know David Yost has been pretty open about it in regards to I think he was it AJ, I think, sent me a link, or maybe made some mentions to me this past week. Yes, Datilla, I did get your I will did I get your question yet? Yes, your question is on there, so I will definitely get to it. But I can't quite remember exactly what I didn't watch the whole thing. I wanted to go back and actually watch what David Yost had said on his IG page, but I missed out on it. But it seems as though maybe things are full steam ahead. Maybe there's still some things that he definitely has to cross T's and dot I's for. But maybe it happens. I want it to happen. I definitely want it to happen. Doomsday, do you think it would be cool if Captain Marvelous returned for Zenkaiger or Gokai Red as Gokai Red as a mentor? I don't know, as a mentor, but based off of Two Kaiser being pirate themed, I definitely would love to have seen a Captain Marvelous pop up for some reason. This question was kind of inspired by the Power Rangers Instagram post. What what would your red, blue, black, yellow, green, and pink Rangers be in your ultimate team of Power Rangers? Oh God. Oh Jesus. Adam Park would definitely be there. Not quite sure if I would have him as man, my ultimate team. Jesus. It's gonna take some give me Adam Park and Jake, black and green. So either of those. So red, blue, yellow, and pink. Give me Amy Joe as pink. You know what? No, I'll go. I feel like that's just too much to fall back on. Pink. You know what? Give me Cassie as pink. Red, blue, and yellow next. Give me Coda as blue. Red and yellow. Give me Zoe as yellow. Red. Give me my boy TJ. Give me TJ. Do you think that Dino Thunder is really well known for its surprise reveals, such as reveals of Anton Mercer, Principal Randall, the reveal of the Rangers of Trent being the evil Y? Yeah, now that you mention it, hell yeah. That's a lot of reveals, man. Didn't realize it. That's a lot of reveals. L'Oreal. Izzy was really on her game today, wasn't she? Yeah, I love how she was riding the back of that forklift, spinning around, chopping down the henchmen and things like that. I thought it was pretty cool seeing her take the initiative while the rest of the Rangers were kind of out of commission. That Ultra Zord they created was wicked awesome. Am I right? Oh, wait, are you talking about the previous episode? Hold on. Oh, yeah, that was you sent that on the 20th. So maybe you were talking about last week's episode? Or when did you send that, L'Oreal? I know you haven't seen Saber, but how would it be if Toma's counterpart is Dex's great grandson? Haha, that would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. Jessica Friedman. Would you like to see Power Rangers Crisis on Infinite Earth or on Infinite Worlds like team up? Yeah, give it to me. I feel like that's kind of Shattered Grid esque, you know. So yeah, give that to me. I would love to see that actually handled in live action. Marcelino Vasquez with a couple questions. In the beginning, Six Rangers used to have their own morphing sequences, their own roll calls, and their own names: Quantum Ranger, Lunar Wolf, Mercury Ranger. However, in recent years, they've started to stray away from that. Now that they have the same morph sequence and roll calls, the core team, it's just and perspective color. Why do you think that has happened? You know, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know why that's happened. I do miss that though, Marcelino. I do miss that. Like it would have been great to have him be something more than just Dino Fury Gold, you know, like an actual name. Um, I think that would have been pretty cool, honestly. I don't know why that's changed though. Why do I think that has happened? I don't know. Maybe it's just make it simplistic. You know, one of the things that we talked about is how backwards Power Rangers has gone over the past like decade or so, or at least ever since sort of like Samurai, you know what I mean? It's kind of taken the franchise back a decade or so in regards to storytelling and advancements. Um, and so I just think some things just kind of stuck because of that, and they just went more simplistic. That's the only thing I could think of. Let's just say hypothetically, the Power Rangers movie doesn't live up to your standards and that it basically shares the same formula as the 2017 movie did. But the difference is that people who don't like that formula are in a very small minority, while people who love the movie are louder and in the majority. And let's just say this hypothetical majority said that the movie was more in line with how the haters wanted it to be than it would have ruined the movie. What would you do? It's a lot of hypotheticals, man. That's like a hypothetical on top of a hypothetical. I wouldn't really care, honestly. I mean, if people don't like the movie, you know, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't really care, man. Um, Still enjoy it, I guess. If it doesn't hypothetically live up to my standards and that it shares the same formula, I mean, I probably would still enjoy the movie, but I probably would feel a little bit, bummed that they didn't do anything different, you know? Um, what haters of a movie think, I don't really care too much about. So I really don't care too much about negative ass opinions. I don't. I mean, unless they're like critical, like unless they're actually providing an opinion that is, if you didn't like the movie but you're like constructive criticism as to how the movie could have been better, then maybe I would certainly have given them a listen. But I outside of people just hating on a movie to a hate it, I don't give those people, I try to give those people the time of day. So I probably wouldn't do anything besides just talk about the movie, what I like, the pros, the cons, and just go on from there. Do you think that the Power Rangers could one day do their own take on the Momotaro Peach Boy story one day? And I don't mean adapting the Sentai, I mean creating their own original suits and footage to be a cool concept for Power Rangers to tackle. I mean, even though it's an adaptation, even though you're saying don't mean adapting the Sentai, they're still adapting something, right? Because Momotaro isn't an original concept anymore. I mean, it's been created. It's a folklore in Japan, so it's the idea of Power Rangers trying to steal or like just adapt something that's already been created for themselves. It just doesn't have I don't think it has any connection to the states. So if anything, maybe instead of adapting something Momotaro related, maybe try and adapt something that's actually like a US American a created concept that maybe has similar themes to that of Momotaro, and then try and do that, right? Like if there's another American folklore like Jack and the Beanstalk, I don't know, maybe we could take a Jack and the Beanstalk theme and turn that into a Power Ranger theme for a series. Maybe something along those lines. I would like to see them. He says there are several cartoons that have their own depiction of the Peach Store. Well, I don't know anything. I don't know any of those. So you're gonna have to enlighten me in regards to that, Marcelino. But if anything, I wouldn't want to see them take the a Peach story of another culture's story. Like take our. I'm sure we have some of our own folklore that we could adapt into a Power Ranger theme. So no, I don't want to see Power Rangers do a Peach story or a Momotaro theme. Let's find, if we're gonna adapt anything, let's find, there you go, Sesame Street Rangers, KL. Let's do that, right? Let's find some American folklore concepts that we've created here in the States and create that way. I don't want to have to create somebody else's folklore for us. Like, no, that just feels weird to me. Power Rangers Legacy. What's up, Power Rangers Legacy? Thanks for the questions, man. Many people online say that the franchise doesn't work anymore with using Japanese or Sentai footage and is holding back the show. They said they even want the comedy duos to be gone, even comedy itself to be over with. That's kind of bland. I'm not sure if they've seen the 2017 Power Ranger movie, but that movie doesn't use any Japanese footage. Even the putties are all CGI. So I don't think ditching Super Sentai is the only key to making Power Rangers more mature, not only for the fans, but for the general public. Right. I definitely get what you're saying. The idea of ditching Super Sentai is not the key of making Power Rangers more mature. Like, I don't think that's what they're saying. I think What they're saying of abandoning and letting go of Super Sentai footage is the idea that it hinders you from being fully creative. The idea of having footage that you have to use and tell your story around that, or change your story to fit it, not because it has anything to do with making Power Rangers more dark or more mature. It's the hurdles and that come along with having Sentai footage in it. It's about being able to be 100% original, tell the story you want to tell, and not have the story be dictated to what you can tell. I think that's where the Super Sentai footage holding the series back comes from. That it forces you to not be able to tell as many compelling stories as you want, because at the end of the day, you might have a direction you want your story to go, but is that Sentai footage even fit what you're trying to tell? And if not, then you can't tell that story, can you? Now you got to change your story up because you got footage that you got to use. And that's the key. That's where Sentai footage and Japan footage is holding it back. Not to say that it can't work. It's worked, but it's worked in that small formula and format for 28 years. It doesn't work necessarily when it comes to the general audience, because when it comes to the general audience, you got to make stories that are compelling enough and are going to grab people's attention, and having to change your story and maneuver your story through Sentai footage is not necessarily how you go about doing that. So I think that's where that comes from. Not so much about making it more mature. You know what I mean? It's all about storytelling, all about the storytelling, and you don't want anything to hinder that storytelling aspect. For the most part, the 2017 movie was really good. I agree. It did an excellent job with the character development of the Rangers, but forgot the Power Ranger aspect, which was the action, both in costume and out of costume. There are many other TV series and movie franchises that do use comedy but aren't physical. For the most part, Power Rangers Dino Fury right now is doing really well with the usage of Rangers themselves or other movies or other people as a comedy ones for brief scenes. I totally agree with you there. Power Rangers Legacy, they're doing a great job in that regards. Um, do you think that Dino Fury and even Beast Morphers would have been completely different, and Jonathan Zacher, who was the one who destroyed the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers with Megaforce, was still in charge? Can even apply to Dino Charge as well? Yeah, I definitely think so. I definitely do think so. It's all about the showrunner. It's all about who's in charge, who comes up with the concepts, and the writers that they attach to it. So yes, Simon Bennett has definitely helped put Beast Morphers, and even Chip Lynn when it comes to Beast Morphers at least, but Simon Bennett more so when we get to Dino Fury here. That's really kind of helped change the trajectory of the franchise. Adam Pereira's got a couple questions. What do you think of the Tokusatsu series Ultraman Trigger so far? Any differences and similarities to Super Sentai and Power Rangers, especially when it comes to the tone and maturity? The tone is definitely different along with the maturity level for sure. I mean, they definitely treat Ultraman Trigger as a almost as a sci-fi drama. Don't get me wrong, there definitely are some lighthearted tones when it comes to Ultraman Trigger, right? Like the main character's theme is smiley, smiley, like smile, smile, right? Like he wants everybody in the world to be able to smile. So a very simplistic, childlike concept and theme that everybody can certainly get behind. There are definitely some moments of humor here or there, sort of thing, but it takes itself dead ass serious. Some really compelling storylines, some very mature content in regards to thought processes, life experiences, and things like that. So it is one of those things where I really love the tone. This fits very much more up my alley. It feels very much more like a mature story compared to that of Zenkaiger, compared to that of Power Rangers. It feels very much more TV 14. Let's say that. And really captures the grittiness, the adventure, the sci-fi, the fantasy elements that I truly enjoy. Great action, great costume designs, great supporting characters. I'm in love with Ultraman Trigger. It's honestly the best tokusatsu series currently going right now, for me at least. For me at least, when I compare it to that of like um um Super Sentai, even Power Rangers and things like that. For me, it's well, yeah, I would say so. Like I have enjoyed it even more than Dino Fury, to be honest with you. And I think it's just, while I love Dino Fury, don't get me wrong, there is that tone of maturity that hits me because I'm an older guy. So I dig it a little bit more. But they're like, those are my two favorite things going right now. But I love me some Ultraman Trigger. I truly do. What do you think of Jonathan Entwistle announcing that his reimagined Power Rangers universe is coming to Netflix instead of the big screen? Do you think it will begin with just a movie or series or all at once? That's a good question. I don't know. I think you could go the route of a series and then jump into a movie. But I think you should do a movie first. I think you should do a movie and then use those same very characters from that movie into a live action series, and use that continuity to your advantage. That's how I would do it. So I don't know, but I think that's the route that they'll go, and then just have fun with it from there. So we'll see. But I love the idea. I think it's a smarter move. I think it's a safer move. I think Netflix. I'm kind of curious to know how much this deal is between Netflix and Power Rangers. Um, because I'm pretty sure they got paid handsomely, and enough probably that will cover the production of the movie and really help them launch a couple of these series and animated projects that they certainly have in the works. Joe from Illuminati has mentioned on several times that if you really dig deep enough on Twitter, that there are some nuggets when it comes to the animation for Power Rangers. I've yet to personally find it, but maybe I just don't have the connections that he does. But there are days that I try and do some deep dives on Twitter to see if I can find some things when it comes to Power Rangers animation that might be linked to what they're doing. But we'll see. What do you remember when Austin St. John and Dr. K were announced to make appearances in Beast Morphers? Did you really expect Austin to come back? Because we know the Super Sentai footage of Dino crossover had MMPR red. Do you feel Dr. K return made an impact in the final episode of Beast Morphers? Absolutely. I mean, just bringing back Dr. K, making those connections to one of the better Power Ranger series in RPM. Absolutely. Even if it was in the way that it was handled, like a time traveling phone call or like a time traveling Zoom message, it still went a long way in connecting the RPM series to Beast Morphers. So yeah, it had a huge impact. As far as Austin St. John, I didn't already expect him to come back because of Super Sentai footage. It just didn't surprise me because I knew from past interviews Austin had mentioned, one, that he wanted to come back, and two, he was in talks, at least with Saban at the time, on possibly returning and doing something. But at the time, like in 2014, 2015, nothing had really come to fruition. So when they announced it, it didn't surprise me at all. Happy, thrilled, but it didn't surprise me like that. Johnny Marrero, he says, "Hey Adam, three questions. How excited are you for the PR universe is coming to Netflix? I think it's a great decision. Honestly, I think this gives Power Rangers a lot more flexibility to create and do things new and unique. I think a lot of us fans are not ready for what they have in store. I think a lot of us are still wrapping our heads around the same formula that we have done Power Rangers for the past 28 years. But I think as we get closer, I think some really cool and unique concepts in regards to an animated series, maybe even an animated film, maybe multiple live action movies. I think, maybe some unique spin-offs that I don't think we necessarily expect. I think a lot of stuff could really happen during this time period, with Power Rangers on Netflix, as long as everything really goes well. So I'm excited for the uniqueness and the variety, I should say, that it's really going to bring to the franchise. Because again, I think there's some great examples out there already. And again, I use Witcher already, who's had a great season one, plans on coming back with a season two. They just announced another movie that they were going to create. I think it's live action, The Witcher Blood Origins, if I'm not mistaken. And then they just did a Witcher animated movie. on there too, that highlighted Gerald's mentor like 1,000 years ago, right? So if you literally can create a series and then back that up by an animated film that's technically a prequel to this series with connective tissues to this series, and then also come out with a live action film too, yeah, man. I like seeing that, and then I'm trying to think of another example. I just had on the Army of the Dead series with Zack Snyder, right? Like we had the Zack Snyder movie, Army of the Dead. He just made another prequel film, the Army of Thieves that connect to the Army of the Dead movie as well, right? Creating his own cinematic universe and connective tissues and storytelling. Like Netflix is grabbing a lot of these big franchises that have potentials of creating spin-offs in different films. So it's going to be unique and a huge variety of Power Ranger content for us to truly enjoy. So I'm super excited for this. Oh, what Power Ranger projects do you want to see happen? See, just like that, it's a couple of things I just mentioned. An animated film, I think, would go a long way. You can still back that up with the animated anthology if you certainly wanted to. Give me some live action spin-off series. Continue with the child programming, but just 100% original footage, right? You can keep that same format, but just give me 100% original footage and still have that really connect to the bigger overarching picture of it. So yeah. According to Michael Lombardo, he says that the Power Rangers will have some kid programming. Does that include the main kid show as well? I would assume that that's what that would mean, that the main kid show itself would continue, but I would imagine in a completely different format. But I am expecting the kid show to continue. AJ, why do you think that Jonathan Entwistle's did I think I already answered that. Would you like Power Ranger movie to have a similar tone to Marvel? Past actors have expressed their thoughts that Marvel is a great example of how to do superhero movie for the most part. I mean, it definitely is a great example, but I feel like everybody's almost using that as an example these days now, the idea of I mean, everybody wants to be Marvel, right? I mean, what Marvel has been able to accomplish is a cinematic feat unlike anything that I think we'll ever see again. I mean, was it 20 movies for the first phase or something like that? All of them, if you think about it, have averaged out to $1 billion in box office money, even though they didn't make it, right? Like, I mean, when you count up how much money the MCU has created and you divide that amongst all the MCU movies up until Endgame, they all average out to like $1 billion a film. So it's an unimaginable feat and just a huge creative feat for them to do that. I don't know if anybody will tackle, but I think if anything, they've laid out the groundwork as to how to become successful. But remember, at the end of the day, it always takes a Kevin Feige. It takes somebody at the top that has a great creative mind, that loves the franchise and the characters, and has a very unique vision and can bring people on board that will carry out that particular vision for him. Still giving people their creative control, don't get me wrong, but having that vision and where you want this to go, where it can happen. So it really just depends on who you got helming this ship. So yeah, will it be like Marvel? I don't know. Could it be like Marvel? Definitely, just because of it is a superhero genre after all. But it really just depends on who is at the top. I'm not sure if this is true, but the Super Sentai parody series Akiba Ranger has been included and made canon to the MCU via Screen Rant. What do you think of this? So here's the Akiba Ranger stuff. And just to clarify, guys, according to this, it's not the MCU per se, as it is the Marvel comics. So just to clarify, right? Like it's not to say like, hey, they popped up in the movies. Because when I say MCU, I think of the movie universe, the cinematic universe, Marvel cinematic universe. This per se is more Marvel comics. So let's go ahead and dive into this real quick, shall we? Because I want to go ahead and bring this up from Screen Rant themselves. It says the Japanese Rangers just joined the Marvel universe, and one of the latest Avengers adventures, the Japanese Power Rangers, Hakonin Sentai Akiba Rangers, were confirmed to be a part of Marvel Comics canon. Marvel Comics canon, not the actual movie universe itself. It says in Avengers, Tech on Avengers number 4, the Avengers are coming off a recent win against the tech-powered Loki, who was attacking Hiroshima, Japan. It says before Ultron attacked, however, the heroes were relishing their win in Japan, where the Akiba Rangers were introduced for the first time in Marvel canon. Keen-eyed fans were able to catch the cameo made by the Rangers on the first page of the issue, in which Captain Marvel is depicted for having a conversation with Steve Rogers while walking down the street. Little did the Avengers know, they walked right past the 3 members of the Akiba Rangers, as well as a longtime ally on the team, talking seemingly amid some shopping. You've got Akiba Red, Akiba Yellow, and Akiba Blue. So they were all spotted standing in the street, speaking with their friends. Sayaka Honiden with Akagi is holding a shopping bag. While the comic doesn't explicitly say it is the Japanese Power Rangers, it is clear to the fans of the series based on their unique appearances. Akagi is wearing his classic red jacket with Moji in her yellow cat cosplay and Ayagi in her straightforward professional attire. And then they go ahead and show that particular photo. So that's what they're referring to in here. So the comic book itself doesn't necessarily say, hey, these are the Akiba Rangers, but with their appearance in here, I mean, these are clearly the Akiba Ranger characters. So whoever clearly was writing this, drawing this story, clearly was a big fan of what they were able to, what the Akiba Rangers certainly did, and place them into this particular comic book. So I guess if these are in fact the characters, I guess the Akiba Rangers are canon when it comes to Marvel Comics. So just again to clarify, we're not talking about them being canon in the MCU or anything like that. It's just a brief appearance, not even in costume, but their character forms in regards to what they classically wear on the show are at least highlighted. So look, this feels very much like a cool little Easter egg, you know, from whoever the writer and the artist is. Like, hey, let's just throw these characters in here. I was a big fan of the series. Let's throw them in here and just kind of have them represented. So take that as for what you will in regards to seeing that. But no, I'm not expecting them to like pop up in the movies anytime soon. All right, let's not hold our breath there. But it's pretty cool because I think when it comes, especially when it comes to Marvel Comics, at least we do know that there's a long history of Marvel Comics being influenced from Super Sentai. I mean, even Stan Lee when it comes to Spider-Man and things like that too, right? So it's kind of a cool little homage. But that's really as far as it goes for me, at least. I mean, now look, Marvel has done Ultraman comics, right? Is this a hint that, hey, were they going to do some Akiba Ranger comics too? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. David Yost, aka Billy, the original Blue Ranger, did an Instagram live a few days ago. He mentioned that he hopes to start filming his limited Netflix series by 2023. Again, see, we got Netflix potential series here. New variety, new uniqueness to PR content already being showcased, possibly at Netflix. And then hopefully it air in the fall of that year. What would you like to see? His short series, and do you think he can pull the strings and actually make it happen? I do think he can make it happen. I truly do. I think David Yost has got that kind of pull and pull. Great representation for a representative for Power Rangers. And I have a feeling he's probably got a really great relationship with a lot of the original cast members. So I think as long as the cast members sign off on it, I think they can make it happen. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Unless they're not getting paid well or something like that, or they got some sort of animosity towards each other, something like that. But I can't imagine it not happening. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I really want this to come to fruition. I would love this to be a sort of a revival series to kind of see what they do here. So even if it is just a limited series, I would love to see some of these actors return and see where these characters are at this point in their life. L'Oreal says, wasn't the new episode cool or what? Yeah, I was a big fan of this week's episode, L'Oreal. It was really silly seeing Ion with worms in his mouth, huh? Switching with the pigeon was for the birds. I did love that. I thought that was pretty hilarious, especially Jordan Fight's impersonation of a pigeon really went a long way. Any expectations for the new Sentai? Still find it pretty cool. It's from an old Japanese tale. I do think it's pretty cool that they're using the folklore as its theme. You can still use like yukai or demons sort of as your main villains, which I think really goes a long way. Still throw in some samurai themes if you certainly want to. I don't really have any expectations except for just please give me a different tone and vibe to the series. I just do not want this to feel like Zenkaiger 2.0. I don't want the quirky banter so much. I don't mind it from time to time, but I just don't want the ADHD from Zenkaiger to pass over this, unfocused sort of storytelling, like this chaos and this chaoticness that tends to follow this series around of just throwing a bunch of things together from time to time. Like I really want it to be a little bit more focused. I don't mind it being lighthearted, especially with it being, off of a folklore, but some really great messaging, some great storytelling will really go a long way. So just maybe a little bit more balanced is really the only thing that I would certainly ask from it. You know what I mean? Would it be cool if the next series for Kamen Rider had a plot similar to Tokuger, but they morph with toys? That would be pretty cool. I would be down for that. I mean, look, they just did um dinosaurs finally for Kamen Rider, right? I mean, maybe they steal the theme of imagination from well, I don't want to say Saber was kind of imagination because they did do books, but I get what you're saying. It would be pretty cool. It would be pretty cool. Datilla says, "Hi Adam. So this poster was shown at Survivor Series. It says the blonde pink ranger stunk too." I tweeted it out and a lot of people thought it was referring to Cat. Do you think he was referring to Cat? If so, why do you think people are still hating on Cat? Yeah, I gotta think so. I gotta think that's a Catherine Sutherland as Cat reference there. That's hilarious though. I want to say when I did watch it, I did catch it briefly because Charlotte like stayed there for a minute on that ramp waiting to come down, and she walked down that ramp pretty slow. So that was a great opportunity for this dude to throw up his sign. But yeah, I got to think he's talking about Cat. Why do they have look? Amy Jo Johnson as Kimberly is like every Ranger fan's heartthrob that grew up in the 90s. Um, and when you think of MMPR, you think of Kimberly and Tommy first. You don't think of that backstabbing, man stealing bitch cat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But like, I feel like maybe watching it back in the day, some people had some animosity towards Cat for coming in and all of a sudden Tommy, like, damn, Tommy, did you give your relationship some breathing room before you and Kimberly went separate ways, right? You're already picking up on the next Pink Ranger. It was just a bad look. It was just a bad look. And I think some people maybe still have some animosity towards Cat. I don't think Cat, unfortunately, is the first Pink Ranger that people think of when it comes to the MMPR. So I think maybe even 25, 28 years later, there's still some animosity being harbored by some fans out there, unfortunately. But again, when MMPR is such a prominent figure in our pop culture, whether people want to accept that or not, this is the type of stuff that you get that people are still harping about Cat and Tommy over Kimberly and Tommy. So yeah, that's that's all I got for you, Attila. That's all I got for you. Um See, even even JB, Kim was my crush, never gave Cat a chance. And then you know what, JB? This guy agrees with you. This guy absolutely agrees with you. Did not give Cat a chance at all. Look, I love me some accents. So Cat, I see you, Cat. But yeah, I mean, as a kid growing up watching Power Rangers, it was Kimberly, man. Kimberly all day. So sorry, Cat. Some people still hold animosity towards you. in that situation? That's a great question, Datilla. I'm glad that you brought that up today. Some people, some people are hard to get over and hard to forgive, unfortunately. Speaking of JB says, "Hey, my friend, hope all is well with you and your family." Thank you so much, man. It's so crazy to say, like, my family, you know? Um, it says, "I only have one question for you. What's your advice for doing watch alongs? I think I want to revisit Wild Force next year. Since I wasn't into it as I was going into my teenage years, and ashamed to say I still watch Power Rangers." I can understand that, man. I hope you enjoy Wild Force. I think when I went back and watched it a second time, I really appreciated it a lot more the second time around. I really did. Some characters really jumped out to me, so I'm glad that you're getting a chance to revisit that. In regards to any advice for watch alongs, provide a timestamp. I would try and find a program that offers you something that you can pull up, if anything, onto your screen as a timestamp for people to follow along with you. Just kind of reset it each time that you watch or go on to the next episode or something like that, so people can certainly follow along. I would advise against putting images or videos on your screen. Copyright is a bitch when it comes to YouTube, and that's one thing that you definitely want to avoid. So if you can avoid having a footage, or if you do have footage on the screen, what I've been doing with some of my reaction videos is I'll blow up the actual image itself, but I'll only showcase like even less than a quarter of the corner of the of the images of the video itself, so you can see movement, but the algorithm for YouTube can't quite decipher what it is that you're watching, you know what I mean? So it may not necessarily be able to pull it up. So if anything, if you want to go that route to just have a video on there, definitely blow up the video and then just have like a corner of the image of the video actually playing. A timestamp I think would certainly help. And be wary of the how high your volume is, because sometimes again, copyright algorithm can hear it in the background and pick up on what it is that you're showing. So just be yourself when it comes to watch alongs, man. Enjoy what you're watching. um I don't know if you're a talker, if you talk through movies. I really don't like when I sit down and I watch movies for myself, I don't really talk. But I've been doing so many reactions lately. I do feel like sometimes I do tend to talk over it, but again, I'm not really even playing the volume. I'm just giving my thoughts as I'm watching along, sort of thing. So yeah, just be yourself, JB. Enjoy it, man. And have fun with Wallet Force. That'd just be some of the things that I would talk about as far as the advice for doing watch alongs. Let's see here. Adrian Perez. He says, for the Gokaiger reunion movie, what do you want to see that's different from this series? And what surprises do you think will maybe foreshadow what's to come after? Maybe another 10 years later movie from another popular Sentai season? You know what? JB says, "Oh, I'm a huge talker." If that's the case, then definitely give yourself moments of levity to kind of breathe. You know what I mean? Really kind of talk. Because you don't want there to be too much empty space where people are just literally sitting down watching you, talk while they're watching it also. Sometimes the idea of social commentary, because if you're doing watch alongs, really the idea is meant to be the people hit play when you play. So they're watching as you're watching. So while they're watching, you have that audio commentary in your head. So in their ears. So whether you want to give, if behind the scenes stories, right, to add to it, just giving your own personal thoughts on particular scenes, why it was funny, what you liked about it, maybe what you didn't like about that particular scene. Just let the episode roll, give your some moments to breathe, and then just kind of chime in, make your remarks and your comments whenever you certainly feel like you have the need to. Going back to the cat stuff, Matthew says, I don't hold too much towards Cat, but I'm still suffering from major PSTD of losing Kimberly. I mean, she was okay with Tommy, but I'm still holding on to Kim and Tommy. A lot of people are, man. A lot of people are, Marcelino. KL says, Kat still managed to last as Zio, if not mistaken. Absolutely, she absolutely did. Then she went from Zio to, is it Zio to Turbo? If I'm not mistaken, so she stuck around for a minute. She stuck around for a minute, so she definitely had that mileage for sure. You would think that she would continue to live in the hearts of people, but again, with MMPR really being the staple. Not to say that Zio was trash and Turbo was trash or anything like that, but MMPR just lives in people's heads. And so that moment in time sticks with them. Datilla says, glad you enjoyed the question, by the way. The Charlotte Becky match was the match of the night, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. As far as like the Gokaiger reunion stuff, give me another 20 years later for Gokaiger. I would take that. I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple other 10-year later movies that I would love to see. I don't know if Go Busters ever did a 10-year later. Has it been 10 years later? I don't remember. But if not, I would love a Go Busters 10 years later. I think there was one. Maybe I'm wrong though. You guys remind me. I don't really have too many expectations going into the Gokaiger reunion movie. My thing right now is I just want to see how these characters have evolved and grown over the years. I really want to see where they find themselves at. That's really the most compelling thing to me. How do you feel about Jonathan Entwistle officially announcing on social media that the next Hasbro Power Ranger movie will be on Netflix instead of theaters? I told you so. I told you so. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to be like that. But I think you were on point with where the movie should go. Yeah, I think it's a smart decision, though. I just think it's an overall smart decision. I think it really mitigates the risk. You don't have to worry about spending a ton of money and not recouping it at the box office. Um, Not to say that means, hey, we can avoid making a good movie. I still think they're going to put their effort to make a good movie because you need it to still get views and still be watched by people. And I think this is the route to go. So I'm excited for it. I'm really pumped in regards to the variety and the uniqueness that it's going to provide. This is pretty obvious since we talked about this a lot, but I'm so glad that Jonathan Entwistle project will be going to Netflix. We all know that even if it was successful in reviews, the general public will still choose not to care just because it's Power Rangers, so Hasbro can make its money back. We know how the box office was with the 2017 film. Streaming is definitely the route, and there's a ton of successful shows and movies that went straight to Netflix. Yeah, there's definitely um, um, a formula, that's clearly worked for streaming service movies or series when it comes to cinematic universes and building upon those. So there's definitely a lot for them to look at and formulate their Power Ranger universe around. And then last couple of questions here from Ram Jam himself. He says, "Hey Adam, how are you doing? Hope you're doing. Congratulations with your newborn. I recently moved to Airdrie, Alberta. I'm assuming that's in Canada. Is that in Canada? If so, tell me how it is, man. I've actually contemplated the idea of moving to Canada because it looks as though never mind, I'm not gonna make I'm not gonna make a mention there. But I have thrown out the idea to the wifey, maybe at some point in time, like where else would you like to move? I was like, Canada. But we'll see. I feel like everybody's so friendly there. But definitely let me know how the move goes, man. Congratulations. What do you think of the cinematic universe officially headed to Netflix? Two thumbs big up, man. I absolutely love the idea. And are you excited for the next Super Sentai series? And what are you looking forward to with the Don Brothers? For me, I'm super excited for Don Brothers, just in the sense of it being different from Zenkaiger at this point. Like, I'm just waiting for Zenkaiger to end because I'm really ready for something new at this point in time. But at least for me, I just really want to see how they incorporate the folklore into a live action production. That and the concept too of CGI animals and them henching, morphing into an actual costume itself. Those are the two things that I'm really intrigued about. That along with how this is even connected to Zenkaiger in the first place, because one of the things that I have mentioned before, and KL even kind of brought up too, is the idea that I would love to see Kaido's mom be the one that's connected to the Momotaro or Momo brother or Don Momotaro, whatever his name is, in introducing us. I would love to see her have a role in creating the technology and introducing us to some of the characters in here. So yeah, I think definitely has some things that are fascinating enough for me to truly get me on board with it, honestly. All right, guys. other than that, I think that's it for us, man. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us. I'm just refreshing the questions, but I think I got everybody's questions here today. So thank you very much, guys, for spending your time with us. A little bit longer than normal, but it was a packed show. A lot to throw on you guys today, and with us not really having put out too much content this past week, this was a great opportunity to do some catch up. Somebody did mention the idea of timestamps for episode 18. I will go back and put some timestamps towards that for you guys, and I will do that the same here for this episode. So if you ever want to revisit any portion of this video, you can very easily. And again, guys, continue to, if you love our particular channel and the content that we dish out, if you had a great time here this week, do us a big favor, hit that like button and feel free to share these videos. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, guys. We're at like 982. Let's keep pushing it, guys. I really continue to appreciate your guys' support. But if anything, we certainly will be back later on next weekend. If I can put out more content throughout the week for you guys, I certainly will. Hopefully episodes of A+ More Phenomenal won't be this long each and every week, but if anything, I will continue as long as I have time and availability to push out content throughout the week. I definitely will for you guys, especially because I want to try and get back to our reaction videos for Deki Ranger. I think I'm like halfway through the season so far, so I'm really ready to go ahead and see how that wraps up. But that'll be it for me. If anything, I believe I might be doing an A+ Hero Report episode tomorrow. We'll see how life happens. But if not, I definitely will see you guys next weekend for A+ More Phenomenal. So until then, guys, as always, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.